You are listening to Dharma in Motion, where the wondrous teachings of the Buddha are shared in a gentle, profound tone, helping our minds find peace and drift easily into deep sleep. If you find this content helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that every evening you can have quiet moments to nourish your soul. Tonight, as you close a long day full of worries, try to sit down, take a deep breath, and listen to yourself. Perhaps in your heart there are still things you haven't yet let go of. An anger not yet faded, a sad memory not yet eased, or a careless word that has left you restless. Modern life sweeps us into its rushing pace, and sometimes we don't realize that it is the past itself that weighs us down. The Buddha once taught that suffering does not come from what has passed, but from our clinging to what has passed. Like a person carrying a heavy bag on their shoulders, walking endlessly without putting it down, the farther they go, the more exhausted they become. People often have the habit of looking back, regretting what they have lost, or blaming themselves for mistakes that cannot be changed. But have you noticed? When the mind keeps circling around old stories, we miss the present moment. We miss the breath, the smile, and the peace already here. The past exists only in memory, and memory is but a faint image. Yet, because our minds hold on, it becomes a chain that binds us. The Buddha taught that life is like a river. The water that has flowed past cannot be retrieved, no matter how much we regret it. What we can do is learn to let go of those old drops of water to see the fresh stream flowing coolly beneath our feet. Letting go of the past does not mean forgetting or denying what happened. Letting go is accepting, seeing clearly that what has passed can no longer be held, and gently putting it down. In modern life, letting go of the past becomes even more essential. We live in a society full of pressure, work, money, relationships, social media. These things easily disturb the mind. If we keep holding on to what has passed, we no longer have space for the joy of the present. Just think. If every night before bed you still carry a suitcase of heavy memories, how can your mind rest? How can your sleep truly be deep? Letting go of the past is also an act of loving yourself. When we forgive our own mistakes, we open a new path for ourselves. When we forgive others, we release the chains around our hearts. Forgiveness does not mean agreeing with what was wrong. It means freeing your own soul from hatred. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to suffer. Here is a small story. One day, the Buddha and his monks walked past a river. He asked, "If you drop a handful of salt into a small cup of water, can you drink it?" The monks replied, "No, it would be unbearably salty." The Buddha then said, "And if you drop the same handful of salt into a large lake?" The monks answered, "It would still be drinkable, for the lake is vast and the saltiness negligible." The Buddha taught suffering is the same. If your heart is narrow, even a little pain will drown you. But if your heart is vast and forgiving, any suffering becomes small. Letting go of the past is widening your heart like a lake, so that life's handfuls of salt will not leave you bitter. In every rhythm of life, letting go of the past also means returning to the breath. When you breathe in and know that you are breathing in, breathe out and know that you are breathing out, you are truly returning to the present. Breathing is the bridge that takes you out of the whirlpool of memories. Each mindful breath is a doorway to peace. Tonight, before you go to sleep, you can try something simple. Close your eyes and recall a recent sadness. Instead of following the thought, breathe in and silently say, "This is only the past." Then breathe out and silently say, "I let it go." Repeat this a few times and you will feel your heart grow lighter. Don't worry if the feeling does not vanish instantly. Letting go is a journey, and each night you can take a small step forward. Some people fear that if they let go of the past, they will lose a part of themselves. But in truth, only when you let go can you rediscover the radiant nature of your mind. The mind is like the vast sky. Only the clouds of memory obscure the light. When the clouds drift away, the sky remains, boundless and clear. In today's fast-paced world, start by letting go of small things. Release a reproach, a trivial mistake, an excessive expectation. Once you are familiar with this, you will learn to release even greater pains. Like someone learning to let go, at first they only dare to loosen one finger, then the whole hand. Gradually, you will realize that letting go is not losing, but returning to freedom. Tonight, as you lie down, let your mind be empty like a suitcase with nothing inside. Tomorrow, that suitcase will again be filled with new experiences and new joys. But for this moment, let it be empty. That very emptiness will carry you into deep sleep, where the mind no longer circles the past and is no longer chained by afflictions. Letting go of the past to live in the present is the greatest gift you can give yourself. Only when the present is lived fully can you truly be at peace. And when the mind is at peace, sleep becomes as sweet as a cool summer rain falling on a sweltering night. Tonight, after learning to let go of the past, let us take another step, learning to live fully in the present. Letting go alone is not enough, because if you let go but the mind still drifts toward the future, still anxious about what has not yet come, you will continue to lose your peace. Living in the present means returning to this very moment, recognizing each breath, each sound, each sensation that exists, so that you may rest and be at ease. The Buddha once said, "The past is gone, the future has not yet come, only the present moment is life." This teaching seems simple but holds a key to open the door to serenity. The present is the only place where we can truly live. The past exists only in memory, the future only in imagination. Yet people often let their minds wander everywhere except the one place they need to be, the present. In modern life, we are often caught in plans, projects, and worries about tomorrow. You may notice that even while eating a meal, your mind is calculating tomorrow's work. While walking in the park, you are thinking about the bill you need to pay. And when sitting with loved ones, you unconsciously glance at your phone. We lose the present by chasing after shadows that have not yet arrived. And so we miss countless simple joys that life offers. Living in the present does not mean denying the future or refusing to plan. It simply means not letting the future occupy your whole mind and make you uneasy. You can still plan for tomorrow, but once you have done so, return to this moment. Like a farmer who plants seeds, he tends and waters them, but then he sits peacefully under a tree without straining each day to see if the seeds have sprouted. One of the simplest ways to live in the present is to return to the breath. Breathing is a miracle we often forget. With each inhale, you can recognize, "I am alive." With each exhale, you can smile to yourself, "I am here." Just a few times like this, and your heart will feel calm. You can try this tonight, lying in bed. Place your hand on your belly. Feel each slow breath. No need to control it, just observe, letting the breath become a bridge, bringing your mind back to the present. The Buddha once used the image of a clear lake to describe a mind resting in the present. When the lake is clear, you can see its bottom. When the mind is at peace, you can see yourself clearly. Conversely, when the lake is stirred up with mud, you cannot see anything but murkiness. A mind chasing the past or the future is like a stirred lake. The more you struggle, the less you see. Only when you let go and return to the present will the lake settle and clarity appear. In a busy life, you can begin with small moments. When washing your hands, don't rush just to finish. Feel the cool water flowing over your skin. When eating, chew slowly, savor the taste, and think of all the effort that brought the grain of rice to your bowl. When walking, feel your footsteps touching the earth. Listen to the birds and the wind, instead of letting your mind wander. Every action can be a doorway to the present if you are willing to open your heart. There is a story. Someone once asked the Buddha, "What does your teacher teach?" The Buddha replied, "I teach how to walk, how to stand, how to sit, how to lie down." The person was surprised. Who doesn't know how to walk, stand, sit, and lie down? Why would one need to learn? The Buddha smiled. Everyone walks, stands, sits, and lies down, but not everyone is mindful while doing so. And that is the essence of living in the present, being mindful in the most ordinary moments. Living in the present also helps dissolve worries that have not yet happened. There are fears that exist only in imagination, yet they rob us of sleep. We worry that tomorrow will bring failure, that someone will leave us, that the future will be bleak. But if you look back, most of what you worried about never happened. The mind creates a ghost of the future, and we let it haunt us. Returning to the present is like holding a lamp of mindfulness that makes the ghost disappear. Tonight, before closing your eyes, you can try a small exercise. Place your hand on your chest and feel your heartbeat. Each beat is proof that you are alive. Silently say to yourself, "In this very moment, I am here." Then smile and let your whole body relax. You don't need to carry tomorrow's worries into your sleep. Tomorrow has not yet come. The only thing you need now is to live fully in this moment, so sleep becomes a peaceful gift. A Zen master once said, "When you drink tea, just drink tea. When you walk, just walk. When you breathe, just breathe." It sounds simple, but if you practice, you will discover a wondrous power. Because when you are truly present in each small act, your mind is no longer pulled away. And when the mind is not pulled away, happiness is right there. Tonight, let your sleep itself be a practice of living in the present. When you close your eyes, don't let your mind wander. Silently say, "I am just sleeping." Then let both body and mind rest. Tomorrow morning, when you open your eyes, you will have yet another chance to live a whole new day fully. Living in the present is not just a skill, it is an art of living. It is how we turn each day into a song of peace. And when you know how to live fully in the present, you will realize that happiness is not far away. It is right here, in this breath, in this smile, in every simple moment you have. Tonight, after we have learned together to let go of the past and live fully in the present, we take another step upward, learning to forgive. Because if our hearts are still full of hatred, anger, and resentment, then no matter how still we sit or how much we let go, our hearts will remain heavy. Forgiveness is the key that opens the door to peace. It is a gift we give to others, but above all, it is a gift we give to ourselves. In life, everyone is hurt at some point. A careless word, a thoughtless action, a betrayal, or broken promise. All leave scratches on the heart. Many people hold on to these wounds, and day after day, anger deepens and turns into hatred. But have you noticed? When we are angry, we are the ones who suffer first. Each time we remember, the heart aches again, the breath grows heavy, and the mind sinks. Holding on to hatred is like gripping a burning coal. The tighter you hold, the more it burns. The Buddha once taught, "Hatred is never appeased by hatred, only by love is hatred appeased." This is a simple yet profoundly deep truth. When we choose to forgive, it is not because the other person deserves forgiveness, but because we deserve peace. Forgiveness is not forgetting the mistake, nor agreeing with what was wrong. Forgiveness is accepting that what happened cannot be changed, and choosing not to let it imprison your heart any longer. There is a small story in the Buddhist scriptures. A man was harshly insulted by someone. He became angry and came to the Buddha for advice. The Buddha asked, "If someone offers you a gift, but you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man replied, "Of course, it still belongs to the giver." The Buddha said, In the same way, if someone insults you and you do not accept it, the insult still belongs to them. Why take it and hurt yourself? Hearing this, the man awakened. Forgiveness is sometimes as simple as not accepting the poisonous gifts others offer. In modern life, forgiveness is even more important. Amid stressful work and complex relationships, conflicts are unavoidable. A colleague might speak harshly, a loved one might lash out in anger, or a broken relationship might leave deep wounds. If we keep holding on, it is like binding ourselves with invisible chains. Forgiveness is how we free ourselves from those bonds. Look deeper, and you will see that those who hurt us are also suffering. A joyful, happy person has no need to hurt others. Only when they carry pain within do they lash out at us. If we understand this, compassion can arise. Instead of asking, "Why did they treat me this way?" ask, "What made them suffer so much that they acted this way?" With understanding, forgiveness becomes easier. Tonight, you can try a small practice. Recall someone who once hurt you. Instead of stirring up anger, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and silently say, "I forgive you, so my heart may be at peace." No forcing, no pressure. Just plant a small seed of forgiveness in your heart. That seed may not bloom right away, but one day when the conditions are right, it will blossom into a flower of compassion. Forgiveness is not only for others, but also for yourself. How many times have you blamed yourself, tormented yourself for past mistakes? How many sleepless nights have you spent asking, "If only I had done it differently"? But the truth is, the past cannot be changed. Self-blame only exhausts you further. Forgiving yourself is understanding that you have erred, but from those errors you can learn something precious to grow. Forgiving yourself is opening the door to a new tomorrow. There is a beautiful image in Buddhism. Our hearts are like gardens. If we sow seeds of resentment, the garden will be full of thorns. If we sow seeds of forgiveness, the garden will bloom with flowers. Each thought, each act of forgiveness is another seed planted, and one day, that inner garden will become a place where you find peace. In modern life, practicing forgiveness also helps maintain mental health. Scientists have proven that those who hold on to grudges are more prone to stress, depression, and heart disease. In contrast, people who forgive tend to have stable moods, sleep better, and enjoy better health. What the Buddha taught more than 2,500 years ago is now being confirmed by science. Forgiveness is not just a spiritual matter. It is also medicine for healing body and mind. Tonight, before closing your eyes, breathe slowly and let your mind drift like a flowing stream. If a certain figure appears in your thoughts, instead of letting your heart ache, smile and say, "I forgive." Even a whispered phrase like this is already a step forward on the path to peace. Forgiveness is a journey. It may be long or short, but every step is precious. Each time you choose to forgive, your heart becomes a little lighter. And when your heart is light enough, you will feel peace spreading through your whole being, carrying you into a deep, restful sleep. If you find these reflections help lighten your heart, don't forget to like and subscribe to Dharma In Motion to continue walking together on the path back to peace. When night has fallen and the city grows quiet, we have the chance to sit still and look within. How long has it been since you asked yourself, "What truly makes me happy?" Amid the whirlwinds of work, money, and relationships, we sometimes keep searching while forgetting that happiness is very near. The Buddha taught that contentment is the shortest path to peace. People often suffer because of endless craving. Owning a small house, we wish for a bigger one. Driving an old car, we long for a new one. Having a stable job, we compare ourselves to those with higher incomes. Desire has no bottom. The more we chase, the more exhausted we become. Like drinking seawater, the more you drink, the thirstier you feel. True happiness does not lie in how much you have, but in feeling enough with what you already possess. Once a wealthy king came to a Zen master and asked, "Why do I have everything yet still feel lacking?" The master simply smiled and handed the king a cup of tea. He poured until the cup was full, then kept pouring until the tea overflowed. Alarmed, the king exclaimed, "Enough, master! The cup cannot hold any more." The master calmly said, "Your mind is the same, always wanting more so it never feels enough. Only when you stop will you truly find peace." In modern life, knowing enough does not mean giving up dreams or stopping your efforts. It means that even while striving, you still cherish what you have. When eating a meal, feel gratitude that you have food to eat. When you have a roof to shelter you from the rain and sun, feel warmth knowing you have a place to return. When you have a loved one by your side, treasure it, for no one stays with us forever. Gratitude and recognizing enough in each moment allow us to be happy even before great achievements arrive. The Buddha compared desire to fire. Once ignited, it can burn everything: joy, peace, and even love. To keep that fire from blazing, we must practice mindfulness to recognize it. When you find yourself comparing to others, pause and silently say, "I have enough." When you feel desire arise, take a deep breath and remind yourself, joy is not found in having more, it is right here. Another story tells of a poor man living in a humble hut. Each day he laughed and sang, which puzzled his wealthy neighbor. The rich man gave him a bag of gold, thinking it would make him even happier. But once he accepted the gold, the poor man began to fear loss, lost sleep, and felt restless. Finally, he returned the gold and said, "Before I had nothing, so I feared nothing. Now that I have gold, my heart is heavy. I wish to return to my simple joy." Happiness does not depend on wealth, it lies in a contented heart. In today's fast-paced world, we can begin practicing with small things. When you wake up in the morning, instead of rushing into work, breathe and whisper, "Seeing the sun again is enough." When eating, think quietly, "Having food and water is enough." When holding your child or loved one, feel deeply, "Having each other is enough." Each time you do this, your heart gains another layer of peace. On a peaceful night, before drifting into sleep, you can try a simple practice. Close your eyes and recall 3 things you are grateful for today. It could be as simple as a cool breeze, a smile, or a warm meal. Acknowledge these 3 things and silently say, "I am already full." If maintained, this habit will turn your mind into fertile ground for happiness. Contentment is not limitation, it is freedom. Freedom from the cycle of comparison, from the pressure to chase endlessly. When you feel enough, your heart opens and becomes light. And in that lightness, sleep comes naturally, as peaceful as the sound of a mountain stream. In this quiet moment, let us contemplate an important art that the Buddha taught, the art of letting go. In life, we cannot avoid gains and losses, praise and blame. The human heart is often swept away by these things, giving rise to fleeting joys and sorrows. Sometimes we rejoice at praise, yet feel burdened by a single criticism. We celebrate success but collapse when facing failure. Life becomes a rocking train simply because we cling too tightly to changing things. The Buddha taught that all phenomena are impermanent. What is gained will be lost, and what is lost may be regained. Today you may stand on a peak. Tomorrow you may fall into a valley. Today you are praised. Tomorrow you may be criticized. If the mind keeps chasing, you will exhaust yourself and never be at peace. Letting go does not mean indifference or detachment from life. Letting go is knowing that gain and loss, praise and blame, success and failure are just passing winds. Instead of clinging, let them come and go like clouds across the sky. There is a story in the scriptures. One day someone came and harshly insulted the Buddha. He remained silently seated without reacting. When the person left, the disciples asked, "World-honored one, why did you not grow angry or respond?" The Buddha smiled and said, "If someone brings a gift and I do not accept it, the gift still belongs to them. Likewise, if I do not accept insults, they do not affect me." No, this is the spirit of letting go, not allowing your heart to be disturbed by external circumstances. In modern society, every day we are exposed to countless opinions, comments, and comparisons. Social media makes this even more apparent. A single negative comment can cause sleepless nights for many. A piece of bad news can cast a shadow over an entire day. But ask yourself, is it worth letting your mind be bound by such things? If we know how to let go, praise and blame are but passing winds. We realize that our true worth does not lie in others' words, but in the tranquility within. Letting go is also learning not to cling too tightly to success or failure. Many people believe they can only be happy once they reach their goals. Yet when a goal is achieved, they feel empty and set a new goal, continuing the race. In this way, happiness becomes a distant marker, never reached. In truth, success and failure are simply experiences. Success brings joy. Failure offers lessons. Seeing it this way, we no longer suffer deeply in failure nor grow overly proud in success. A Zen master once said, "A person who knows how to let go is like a traveler who sees a beautiful flower, admires it, but does not pick it, for if taken, the flower will wither. Leaving it with the earth and sky, we can still enjoy its beauty without being bound. Likewise, we can savor joy and cherish what we have, without holding on too tightly. For when we cling, we fear loss, and in fear, joy is no longer complete." There is a very simple practice. Whenever you receive a compliment, smile, give thanks, but don't let your mind cling. Whenever you hear criticism, listen, accept it if it is useful, and let it go if it is not. When you lose something, see it as a chance for your mind to learn patience. When you gain something, see it as a chance to practice humility. Gain and loss, praise and blame, if viewed wisely, are all valuable lessons. You can try a small exercise before bed. Recall today what made you happy and what made you sad. Then silently say, "Joy comes, I smile. Sorrow comes, I also smile. All will pass." This reminder is like a cool stream, washing away the dust of the mind, allowing you to enter sleep with a light heart. Letting go is not abandoning responsibility or being indifferent to life. On the contrary, it is a conscious and active attitude. When unbound by gain or loss, you are free to act with a pure heart. You work not out of a craving for fame or profit, but out of love and the joy of serving. You love not out of fear of loss, but out of a desire to spread happiness. Letting go grants you the greatest freedom. Freedom within your own heart. When the mind knows how to let go, we are like someone sitting by a still lake. Even when the wind blows, the surface of the lake is barely disturbed. Amid life's many changes, we can still hold a peaceful sky within. And it is this peace that nourishes deep sleep. Sleep undisturbed by the world's gains and losses. In the quiet of the night, as your breath slows, it becomes easier to return to yourself. Few realize that the breath has been with us from our first cry to our final moment, yet we often forget its presence. The Buddha once taught, "The breath is the bridge between body and mind, the anchor that keeps us rooted in the present." Through mindfulness of the breath, we can rediscover the peace we have always sought. Think back to an ordinary day. While working, your mind races with thoughts. While walking, it plans what's next. Even while eating, you sometimes rush and forget the taste. In those moments, you breathe without knowing you are breathing. This unconsciousness creates stress and unease. By simply stopping and bringing awareness to your breath, your mind settles, like a stirred lake becoming clear again. Mindfulness of breathing is a simple yet profound practice. Each time you inhale, be aware, I am breathing in. Each time you exhale, be aware, I am breathing out. That alone brings your mind back to the present. When you inhale and feel the cool air entering your body, life itself is nourishing you. When you exhale and release, life is easing your worries and tensions. Each breath is a reminder you are alive and life is happening right here. Modern science has also confirmed that focusing on the breath regulates the nervous system, stabilizes the heartbeat, and reduces stress. What the Buddha taught over 25 centuries ago is now validated by research. Mindful breathing is not only a spiritual practice, but also a healing therapy for both body and mind. A Zen master once shared, "Each breath is a kiss of life." This may sound poetic, but it holds a profound truth. Each time we pay attention to our breath, we are touching the miracle of existence. We don't need to go far. Happiness is present in the air flowing through our nostrils, in the gentle rise and fall of our chest. Just by stopping, we can see a whole universe of peace within ourselves. In a busy life, you can practice mindful breathing anywhere. On the bus, instead of rushing to scroll through your phone, close your eyes for a moment, breathe in deeply, and exhale slowly. When waiting at a traffic light, place your mind on your breath instead of impatience. When work feels stressful, even 3 mindful breaths are enough to calm the mind. You don't have to wait for formal meditation in a quiet place. Your breath is a companion who can support you anytime, anywhere. There is a small story. A man came to a Zen master, complaining that life was exhausting and worries surrounded him. The master gently said, "Try breathing, but breathe so that you know you are breathing." The man followed his advice, and after only a few minutes, his face softened. It turned out that the solution to chaos sometimes does not lie outside, but right in the breath we so often forget. Before going to sleep, you can try a simple practice. Lie still. Place one hand on your belly and one on your chest. As you inhale, feel your belly rise. As you exhale, feel it fall. No need to force long or short breaths. Just let them be natural. With each breath, silently remind yourself, in, out, alive, at peace. Just a few minutes of this, and you will feel your whole body relax. Your mind grow lighter, and sleep will come naturally. Mindfulness of breathing also teaches us how to let go of scattered thoughts. The breath never belongs to the past or the future. It exists only in the present. When we focus on our breath, we simultaneously stop the endless spinning of worries and memories. Many people who struggle with insomnia are caught in cycles of thought. Tomorrow's work, yesterday's sorrow. Practicing mindful breathing is how we create a pause, bringing the mind back to here and now. The breath is also a mirror reflecting the state of our heart. When worried, our breath is short and quick. When angry, our breath is hot and hurried. When joyful, our breath is long, slow, and deep. By observing the breath, we can recognize our inner state, and by adjusting the breath, we can adjust the mind. Breathing out a little longer, you may feel yourself letting go more. Breathing in a little deeper, you may feel yourself re-energized. In a sutra, the Buddha guided the monks. When breathing in long, know that you are breathing in long. When breathing out long, know that you are breathing out long. When breathing in short, know that you are breathing in short. When breathing out short, know that you are breathing out short. It may sound simple, but this method has led thousands to peace, because only when the mind truly knows the breath can it stop wandering and become still. Let each breath become a companion on your path of practice. When your mind is restless, return to the breath to find stability. When your mind is peaceful, return to the breath to nourish that peace. Like a traveler on a long journey who always needs a place to return, the breath is the home of the soul. On this quiet night, let your breath guide you into sleep. With each inhale, whisper, "I am alive." With each exhale, whisper, "I am at ease." Each breath, each heartbeat blending together, carries you into a deep and peaceful sleep. And when you wake tomorrow, simply remember to return to your breath, and you will begin a new day with steadiness and vitality. In the stillness of the night, as the mind settles through the calm of the breath, we can go deeper into a core quality of the Buddha's teaching: compassion. If the breath is the bridge bringing us back to the present, then compassion is the door that opens connection between us and all beings. It is not merely love, but a healing force, bringing joy to ourselves and to those around us. In the scriptures, the Buddha taught that compassion is the foundation of all happiness. A mind full of hatred and envy cannot be at peace, but a heart open with love brings calm wherever it goes. Compassion is not pity, nor is it reserved only for loved ones. Compassion is love without distinction or condition. When we see someone suffering, we give rise to the wish for their suffering to lessen. When we see someone happy, we give rise to the wish for their joy to endure. There is a beautiful image in the scriptures. Compassion is compared to a mother holding her only child with all her heart. The mother does not need the child to be perfect, nor does she require any condition. She only needs the child's happiness to feel complete. If we can open our hearts in this way to everyone and all beings, the world around us will become much gentler. But compassion is not only directed outward, it begins with knowing how to love ourselves. Many people live their entire lives blaming themselves, blaming for not being good enough, blaming for mistakes, blaming for not pleasing others. But the truth is, if we do not know how to love ourselves, we cannot fully love anyone else. Compassion for oneself is stopping the judgment and replacing it with understanding. It is knowing how to say to yourself, "I am only human. I have the right to make mistakes. I have the right to learn again." Once, a disciple asked the Buddha, "World-honored one, who is the most worthy recipient of my love?" The Buddha replied, "None other than yourself. For if you do not love yourself, you will never be able to love anyone completely." From then on, the disciple learned to treat himself more gently, and that love spread to all his relationships. In modern life, compassion can be practiced in small things. When you see someone pushing through traffic, instead of getting angry, you can think, perhaps they are in a hurry, perhaps they are suffering. When you see someone lose their temper, you can silently remind yourself, this person must be under great pressure. When you encounter an injured animal, you can stop and give it a little care. These seemingly small actions sow seeds of peace in the world. Compassion is also a remedy for healing broken relationships. A kind word or a forgiving glance can soothe wounds that have lasted for years. When we choose to open our hearts, sometimes the other person opens theirs too. And even if they do not change, we ourselves feel lighter, no longer imprisoned by resentment. There is a story. A man, burdened with injustices and resentment, came to a Zen master and asked, "How can I stop being angry?" The master gave him a glass of water, dropped in a handful of salt, and told him to drink. The water was bitter and hard to swallow. Then the master led him to a large lake, dropped in another handful of salt, and told him to drink again. The lake water was still fresh. The master said, "Suffering is like this handful of salt. If your heart is small, the salt makes life bitter. But if your heart is as vast as a lake, that same salt is nothing." Compassion is how we expand our hearts, turning suffering into emptiness. You can practice compassion before bed with an exercise called sending blessings. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and silently wish yourself, "May I be at peace." Then expand outward. May my loved ones be at peace. May all beings be at peace. As these wishes echo in your mind, a warm energy will spread through your body, and it is this very energy that will carry you into a peaceful sleep. Modern science also shows that practicing compassion helps the brain release chemicals that increase happiness, reduce stress, and improve the immune system. Those who regularly cultivate compassion are less prone to depression, more easily connected to others, and enjoy a higher quality of life. What the Buddha taught long ago is now proven by scientific research. Compassion is not something distant. It exists the moment we smile at a stranger, listen to a loved one, or forgive ourselves. Each act of compassion is a healing medicine, not only for others but for ourselves as well. In the stillness at the end of the day, let compassion soak into each breath, each heartbeat. Let love become a warm blanket covering your soul, driving away the cold. And when sleep comes, you will rest in the arms of compassion, a deep sleep full of serenity. In the quiet spaces of life, if we pause to reflect, we will realize a profound truth. Everything is impermanent. From the flower that blooms and fades, the raindrop that falls and disappears, to joy and sorrow, success and failure, all are changing. Nothing endures. Understanding impermanence does not make us pessimistic. Rather, it helps us live more freely, less attached to gain and loss, happiness and sorrow. The Buddha once said, "All conditioned things are impermanent, like dew on the grass, like bubbles on the water's surface." These images are simple, yet deeply moving. When we clearly see the impermanent nature of all things, we no longer cling to anything as if it were ours forever. We know that what we have will one day be gone, that meetings will lead to partings, so we learn to cherish the present instead of suffering from attachment. There is a recorded story. A king asked a sage to carve onto his ring a sentence that could awaken him in both joy and sorrow. The sage engraved 4 words: "This too shall pass." In sorrow, the king looked at the ring and felt lighter. In happiness, he also looked at it, reminded that this joy would not last forever, and so he cherished each moment more. That is the wisdom of contemplating impermanence. In modern life, we often suffer because we forget impermanence. When something good happens, we think it will stay forever. When it is lost, we feel unbearable pain. When hardship comes, we think it will cling to us endlessly, and we despair. But in truth, nothing stands still. Happiness or sorrow, prosperity or hardship, everything is but waves passing over the sea. Knowing this, we no longer become overly intoxicated nor overly hopeless. Contemplating impermanence is not to make us indifferent, but to help us live more deeply. Knowing that loved ones will one day leave, we cherish every moment with them. Understanding that youth is not eternal, we use its strength for meaningful deeds. Realizing that health is fragile, we care for body and mind more attentively. Impermanence teaches gratitude, wholehearted living, and not postponing happiness. There is a beautiful image in meditation, a single autumn leaf falling. To the ordinary eye, it seems a sign of decay. But looking deeply, we see the leaf is not gone. It transforms into soil, becomes nourishment for the tree, and re-emerges as green shoots. Impermanence is endless continuation. Knowing this, we no longer fear death or loss, for we understand that all is a process of transformation. You can practice contemplating impermanence in daily life. Each time you hold a flower, remember it will fade, so you savor it fully in the present. Each time you meet a loved one, remember no one stays forever, so you listen, love, and forgive more. Each time you face hardship, remind yourself, this too shall pass, and feel your heart grow lighter. Before bed, you can try a small contemplation. Lie still, inhale, and recognize this body is impermanent. exhale, and silently say, "I cherish this moment." In doing so, you learn to loosen attachments, see clearly life's fragility, and live more deeply in the present. Modern science today also shows that when people accept change as a natural part of life, they experience less stress and anxiety. Those who can adapt tend to live healthier and happier lives. This is no different from the wisdom of impermanence the Buddha taught thousands of years ago. Understanding impermanence also teaches us courage, for we know that no suffering lasts forever and no joy is eternal. We learn to pass through every storm with a calm heart, like a rower in the river, not panicking in rough waters nor complacent in still waters, just quietly rowing forward. On this silent night, let the wisdom of contemplation illuminate your heart. Remember that all joys and sorrows, gains and losses of today will also pass. The worries you hold will fade. Even the joy you have, if uncherished, will vanish. All is but a fleeting moment, and precisely because of this, every moment becomes priceless. When impermanence becomes your teacher, you will learn to live freely, not bound by the past, not overly worried about the future, but rooted in the present. And with that state of mind, your sleep will become light and gentle, like a breeze over a vast field, peaceful and free. In the flow of life, perhaps what causes us the most suffering is the ego, the self. When the ego is too large, we are easily hurt by a word, easily offended by a glance, easily angered when things don't go our way. We strive to prove we are right, talented, and important, and in doing so, our hearts grow heavier and life more troubled. The Buddha taught, clinging to self is the root of suffering. When you see no self, the mind is truly liberated. The ego is like a shadow that always follows us. The more we feed it, the bigger it grows, and the more it controls our actions and emotions. A person can become angry, selfish, or jealous simply because they cannot bear their ego being hurt. Yet the irony is that the ego is not real. It is only an illusion. What we call I is actually a combination of body, feelings, thoughts, and circumstances, all impermanent and ever-changing. A Zen story tells of a master sitting by a river who saw a man scoop up water to drink. Seeing his reflection, the man thought someone was staring at him and panicked. The master smiled and said, "You are only afraid of your own shadow." Likewise, most of our suffering comes from clinging to the shadow of the ego, not from reality itself. Letting go of the ego does not mean denying your existence, but loosening attachment to a narrow self and expanding into a greater self. When the ego softens, we become compassionate and understanding. When we no longer obsess over proving we are right, we can truly listen. When we stop placing ourselves at the center, we see our vast interconnection with all beings. A simple example: if someone criticizes us, the ego reacts, anger flares, defense rises. But if we let go of the ego, we remain calm. We can view the criticism as a mirror for self-reflection, or simply smile and let it pass if it is untrue. The heart remains unscathed because it is no longer imprisoned by the ego's shell. In the scriptures, the Buddha often taught about the 5 aggregates, skandhas, that make up a person: form, body, feeling, sensation, perception, recognition, mental formations, and consciousness. None of these are fixed. The body changes daily. Feelings arise and fade. Thoughts constantly transform. So what is I? Seeing deeply, we realize no self. There is no independent, unchanging self. And this insight frees us from countless bonds. In daily life, we can practice loosening the ego through small acts. In a debate, instead of striving to win, listen openly. When working with others, instead of seeking credit, rejoice when others are recognized. When helping someone, instead of expecting gratitude, act with a pure heart. Each act like this is a step toward releasing the self. Letting go of the ego is also how we discover deep joy. When the narrow self dissolves, we feel part of something larger, the life stream of family, community, humanity, and nature itself. We are no longer alone, for we see ourselves in all things, and all things in us. You can try a bedtime practice. Close your eyes, breathe steadily, and silently think, I am not only this body, I am a child of the earth, the flow of water, the breath of wind, the light of the sun. When you realize your connection to all things, the small self dissolves, leaving only unity and peace. Modern science also confirms that those who live selflessly, placing less weight on the ego, tend to experience less stress, greater happiness, and better health. What the Buddha taught about no self thousands of years ago is now proven to be a practical path to a peaceful life. On this quiet night, let the idea of no self gently seep into your heart. Loosen the narrow self to feel a broader openness. When you wake tomorrow, you will see you do not live only for yourself, but for all beings. And in each breath and each smile, you will touch true freedom. When mindfulness is mentioned, many people think of sitting meditation in silence, eyes closed, following the breath. But mindfulness is not confined to a few minutes of meditation each day. Rather, mindfulness is the art of living awake in every moment, the ability to bring the light of awareness even into the most ordinary tasks. When we live this way, life itself becomes a stream of meditation, and we walk in peace amidst the everyday world. The Buddha taught, in all actions, be mindful. Now, that means when walking, know you are walking. When eating, know you are eating. When washing dishes, know you are washing dishes. It may seem simple, but this very simplicity is the key to freeing ourselves from the whirlpool of stress. We often let our minds chase the past or future, and in doing so, we miss the present. Mindfulness returns us to this moment, the only place where life truly exists. Imagine this. Each morning as you wash your face, instead of doing it absent-mindedly, you become aware of the cool water touching your skin, feeling alertness spread through your body. Just like that, washing your face becomes a short meditation. When you drink a glass of water and focus fully on each sip, sensing the freshness entering your body, that glass of water becomes a Dharma talk, a living lesson on the miracle of life. Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh once said, "Wash the dishes to wash the dishes." This short phrase contains the essence of mindfulness. If, while washing dishes, your mind only longs to finish quickly, to do something else, you are missing the present moment. But if you wash dishes just to wash dishes, fully present in each motion, then that moment becomes meditation, and your heart is nourished. Practicing mindfulness in daily life also means pausing to be truly present with those you love. When talking, put down your phone and listen with your whole heart. When beside your parents, notice their graying hair, their wrinkled hands, and silently feel gratitude. These moments will never return, and only mindfulness allows us to hold them fully in memory and in our hearts. A simple but powerful practice is walking meditation. You don't need a quiet forest, just a small alley, your yard, or the path to the market. With each step, be aware, I am walking. With each step, let your mind flow with the breath. Breathing in, I arrive. Breathing out, I am home. Walking this way, each footprint becomes a mark of peace upon the earth, guiding you back to yourself. In a stressful work environment, mindfulness is also the key to maintaining balance. When tension builds, instead of letting your mind scatter, you can pause for a few seconds, take a deep breath, and be aware that you are breathing. Just 3 mindful breaths can refresh your mind and restore your energy. This not only reduces stress, but also makes your work more effective. There is a story. A student complained to his teacher that he had no time to meditate. The teacher smiled and said, "Then make everything you do into meditation." Surprised, the student asked how. The teacher explained, "When you eat, eat mindfully. When you work, work mindfully. When you rest, rest mindfully. Then your whole life becomes an endless meditation." The student practiced this and gradually discovered that peace was already present in his daily tasks. Mindfulness in small things also helps us master our emotions. When anger arises, if we can notice, "This is anger," and return to the breath, we won't be swept away by rage. When anxious, if we pause and breathe in, breathe out, we can step out of the whirlpool of thoughts. Each small action, each mindful moment is a golden thread weaving the tapestry of peace in life. Before bed, you can try a simple exercise. Recall how many moments today you lived mindfully. Perhaps it was sipping a cup of tea, smiling at a friend, or listening to a piece of music. Recognize and be grateful for those moments. You'll see your day was rich and meaningful. Then close your eyes, breathe evenly, and silently tell yourself, "Today I truly lived." Worse, sleep will then come gently as a natural continuation of mindfulness. Science also shows that living mindfully reduces anxiety, improves memory, increases focus, and creates lasting happiness. These benefits are modern evidence of the value of the Buddha's teachings from thousands of years ago. Mindfulness is not something distant. It is present in every small thing we do each day. By simply returning and pausing, even washing dishes, eating rice, walking, or listening to loved ones becomes meditation. Once we live this way, we realize we don't need to search for peace elsewhere, for peace is already here within the simplicity of daily life. Just a little mindfulness in daily life allows us to touch peace. Please like and subscribe to Dharma in Motion so you don't miss the journeys ahead with us. In the whirlwind of modern life, anxiety seems to become an uninvited companion. We worry about the future, work, health, and our loved ones. Sometimes worry is just a passing breeze, but at other times it grows into a storm, dragging us into exhaustion. Anxiety is like a shadow. The more you chase it away, the more it clings. So how can we be free of it? The Buddha teaches us an art: letting go. Letting go does not mean indifference or neglect. It means acknowledging the worry, understanding its roots, and gently setting it down. Like holding a heavy stone until your hand aches, letting go doesn't make the stone disappear. It simply means you no longer bind yourself to its weight. When you know how to let go, you create space for peace within your heart. Once, the Buddha and his disciples walked through a forest. He held a handful of leaves and said, "What I know is as many as the leaves in the forest, but what I teach is only as many as this handful." One of these essential teachings is letting go of worry. Worry arises from the mind's projections and imaginings about things that have not yet happened. When the mind stops and rests in the present, worry has no ground to live. Look closely at your worries. Most of the time, we worry about things that may never occur. We worry about failure before we even begin. We worry about illness before any symptoms arise. We worry about loss while everything is still here. Anxiety is the shadow of the future cast onto the present, stealing our ability to enjoy this moment. Mindfulness helps us recognize this is worry, then return to the breath to see that right now we are safe, breathing, and alive. A Zen master once said, "If it can be solved, why worry? If it cannot be solved, what's the use of worrying?" It sounds simple, but when practiced, it lightens the heart. Worry is only useful when it becomes motivation for preparation and action. When prolonged, it becomes a chain. Letting go is cutting that chain, freeing the mind. In daily life, you can practice releasing anxiety with small steps. When worry arises, pause for a few seconds, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, is this certain to happen? What can I do right now to improve it? If you can act, act. If not, smile and let it go. In this way, anxiety gradually becomes a teacher, showing you what requires action and what deserves release. There is a folk story. A poor farmer worried constantly about his crops, fearful of rain, sun, and pests. One day, he met a monk and asked, "Master, is there a way for me to stop worrying?" The monk looked at him kindly and said, "Remember, rain is good, sun is good. If your heart is steady, every season is a beautiful season." From then on, the farmer practiced accepting change, doing his best, and relaxing with what remained. He discovered beauty in every season, and anxiety found no place to dwell. Modern science also proves that when people live constantly in anxiety, the body releases large amounts of stress hormones, weakening the immune system and exhausting the mind. Conversely, when practicing letting go through meditation, mindfulness, or positive thinking, the body releases substances that soothe, improve sleep, and restore balance. Before sleeping, you can try a simple exercise. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and imagine setting your burdens down by the roadside. Picture yourself entering sleep without carrying the heavy suitcase of worries. Silently remind yourself, "Today I did my best. The rest, let it be for tomorrow." Then smile, relax your body, and allow your mind to rest. Letting go of anxiety is not a one-time act, but an art to be practiced daily. Each time anxiety arises, we learn to recognize it, smile at it, and set it down. Gradually, the mind becomes steadier, no longer easily disturbed. And within that steadiness, we rediscover the peace that has always lived in our hearts. On this peaceful night, let your worries dissolve like morning mist under the sun. Trust that whatever happens, you have the capacity to face it with calm. Let your heart rest in the embrace of letting go, so sleep may come naturally, deeply, and restoratively. In life, sometimes we become so busy chasing big dreams and distant ambitions that we forget a simple secret the Buddha once reminded us of. Happiness is not found in grand things, but exists in gratitude for the small wonders around us. When we are grateful, our hearts open. When we are grateful, we feel complete. And when we are grateful, we rediscover the peace that has always been there, waiting for us to notice. The Buddha taught, gratitude and repaying kindness are the foundation of virtue. A person with gratitude does not easily fall into suffering, for in their eyes, every existence is a gift. Grateful people are happy because they do not constantly focus on what is lacking, but cherish what they already have. Think of a morning. You open your eyes, see the gentle sunlight streaming through the window, hear the birds singing, inhale the first breath of a new day. That alone is already a miracle, yet we often forget, letting our minds be consumed by plans and worries. If we pause and silently say, "Thank you for another day to live," joy will naturally arise. There is a story. A student asked his teacher, "How can I feel my life is abundant?" The teacher handed him a cup of water and a handful of salt. He put the salt in the cup, stirred, and told the student to drink. The water was unbearably salty. Then the teacher took him to a large lake, dropped the same salt in, and asked him to drink. The water was sweet and fresh. The teacher smiled. Suffering is like the salt. If your heart is small, the salt makes life bitter. If your heart is wide with gratitude, the salt dissolves into vastness. The student understood that expanding the heart is the way to happiness. In everyday life, gratitude does not require grand gestures. It may be a smile when someone offers you a seat, a thank you when helped, or simply the moment you realize you still have your hands, your eyes, your memory, your family beside you. Many only realize the value of these things after losing them. But if we are grateful now, we will see that every day of life is worth living. Modern science also confirms that practicing gratitude reduces stress improves sleep, and increases life satisfaction. Those who keep a gratitude journal each night, writing down just 3 things they are thankful for, tend to feel happier and sleep better. When we close our eyes in gratitude, our hearts become warm and serene. You can try this tonight. Before sleeping, close your eyes and recall 3 things that made you smile today. Perhaps it was a warm meal, a caring message, or simply the fact that you are still breathing. Silently say, "Thank you." Just that, and you'll feel lighter, your heart more open, and your sleep deeper. In Buddhist teachings, gratitude is not just a feeling but is paired with action. Grateful to parents, we care for and honor them. Grateful to teachers, we uphold their teachings. Grateful to life, we live kindly and sow goodness for others. Living this way continues the energy of gratitude, making the world around us more beautiful. Remember, gratitude is not only for times of ease, but also for times of difficulty. For even adversity teaches us to grow. When we are grateful for challenges, we no longer resent life, but see lessons within each wound. From there, our hearts become spacious and compassionate. In tonight's quiet moment, place your hand on your heart and whisper, "Thank you for my life. Thank you for my ability to love and be loved. Thank you for the miracle of this moment." In doing so, you will feel a quiet joy spreading through your whole being. And in that joy, you will fall asleep as if cradled in the gentle arms of the universe. Gratitude is the door to happiness. It demands no conditions, no perfection. It only asks for a heart willing to pause, recognize, and cherish. When we step through that door, we will see life has always been far more beautiful than we imagined. In the journey of life, family is often the first and last harbor. We may travel far, succeed or fail, experience glory or hardship, but when we return, our family's arms remain open. Love within a family is like a warm fire, warming our hearts through cold days and lighting our path when life grows dark. The Buddha taught, "The kindness of parents is as vast as the sky and as deep as the ocean. Those who honor and cherish their family will always find peace, for they live within the stream of love." Family is not only where we are born, but also our first school, teaching us love, patience, and sharing. When love within a family is nurtured, it becomes a strong foundation for every person's inner peace. Recall the time when your heart softened simply because of a humble meal shared together, the laughter of children in the house, or your parents' proud gaze. These things may seem small compared to worldly gains, yet they are the source of enduring happiness. There is a story. A young man left his hometown to work far away, chasing money and seldom visiting his parents. One day, he received news that his father was gravely ill and rushed home. The father looked at his son, held his trembling hand, and said, "I don't care how successful you become. I only wish you could be present with your parents more often." At that moment, the young man realized that family love could never be replaced by anything else. He regretted letting so much time slip by in neglect. In modern life, we are often swept away by work and pressure, forgetting greetings, shared meals, and simple hugs. Yet these small things nourish the soul. A comforting word from a mother can soothe countless worries. A father's forgiving gaze can give strength to continue. An embrace from a loved one can remind us that life remains gentle, even when storms rage outside. In Buddhist teachings, filial piety is the root of all virtues. A child who honors their parents not only upholds the beauty of being human, but also sows good seeds for themselves. Parents are not only those who gave us life, but are living Buddhas in our homes, the greatest blessing of our lives. To cherish family love is to practice a profound Dharma that brings us closer to peace. Family love is not only from parents to children, it appears in the way siblings support one another. Spouses share burdens and children show reverence. Each role is a thread in the family tapestry, weaving a picture of love. When one thread breaks, the whole weave trembles. When every thread holds strong, the tapestry endures. Perhaps you have found yourself snapping at loved ones while being patient with strangers. Because of closeness, we become careless. But remember, a harsh word can leave a deep wound in a loved one's heart. Conversely, a gentle word or a small act of care can soothe and warm the whole home. So practice treating loved ones with patience and tenderness, the same kindness you would wish for yourself. Here's a simple practice. Before sleeping, think of a beautiful memory with your family, maybe a shared meal or your parents' smiles. Let that image fill your heart and whisper, "I am grateful for my family." Doing so nourishes your love and brings peaceful sleep. Modern science also confirms that people with strong family bonds are less likely to suffer depression, live longer, and enjoy better mental health. Love, especially family love, has the power to heal deep wounds in the soul that medicine cannot. Tonight, as you close your eyes, let your heart return to the family's fire. Wherever you are, near or far, let that flame light and warm your soul. As long as family love remains, you will never feel alone. And within that invisible yet steadfast embrace, you will drift into deep, gentle, and grateful sleep. From ancient times, humans lived with nature, breathing with forests, rivers, mountains, and stars. But today we distance ourselves from nature, confining ourselves within concrete walls, surrounded by screens and machines. In doing so, we lose the stillness once found in every breeze, leaf, or gentle moonbeam. The Buddha reminded us that nature not only nourishes our bodies but also our spirits. It is a teacher of impermanence, letting go, and harmony. Listen to the wind passing through the trees. It does not compete or strive, it simply exists. Each gust is like a great breath of the earth, reminding us that life is all around, soft yet enduring. When we pause, open our hearts, and feel, the wind touches not just our skin, but the depths of our soul, washing away the day's weariness. A leaf on a branch can be a wondrous teaching, green in spring, golden in autumn, falling in winter. The leaf's cycle reminds us of impermanence. All things change. But this change is not for sorrow. It is to teach us to cherish every moment. Watching a leaf fall, we learn that letting go is not loss, but an essential part of life. The moon is the same, sometimes full, sometimes waning, bright one night, dimmed behind clouds the next. Yet, even as its shape shifts, the moon is always there. So too is our mind, sometimes clear, sometimes clouded by worries. But the mind's pure nature never disappears. Sitting quietly under the moonlight, breathing and releasing anxieties, we find our minds shining as clearly as the moon itself. A Zen master once taught his students by leading them into the forest. He said, "Sit quietly and listen." The students sat down. At first, they only heard the rustling leaves. Sitting longer, they began to hear birds calling their flocks, a distant stream flowing, and the whisper of insects. Deeper still, they heard the vast silence embracing it all. The master smiled. That is the voice of nature, and also the voice of your own heart when it is still. In modern life, we may not always have the chance to sit by a river or wander in the mountains. Yet nature is still around us. A small potted plant on your desk, a wild flower by the roadside, or the blue sky overhead, all can be doors leading you back to stillness. The question is whether we are willing to pause and open our hearts to feel it. Try a simple practice. When walking, notice the breeze through your hair, the sound of leaves trembling, or the gentle sunlight on your skin. Just a few minutes can slow your mind, lighten your heart, and bring peace. Or before bed, open a window, gaze at the sky, and let the moon or the stars whisper to you. In that moment, you will feel you are not alone but part of the vast rhythm of the universe. Modern science has shown that contact with nature reduces stress, improves memory, strengthens cardiovascular health, and helps with better sleep. One study found that spending just 20 minutes a day in green spaces significantly lowers stress hormones. This affirms what the Buddha and Zen masters have practiced for centuries. Nature is the largest meditation hall, the most effective healer of the soul. Tonight, you can imagine lying under a starry sky, hearing the wind's whispers, watching leaves fall, and letting the gentle moonlight embrace your spirit. Breathe deeply. Let each breath merge with the breath of the earth. Set down your burdens and allow nature to shelter you and lull you into peaceful sleep. Nature is a silent friend, asking for nothing, only giving. By connecting with it, you rediscover the stillness and wholeness already within. Walking with nature, you learn to live lightly, harmoniously, and freely. In life's flow, none of us can avoid being hurt, misunderstood, or insulted. In those moments, anger often flares like a raging fire, burning both the one who holds it and the one who caused it. The Buddha taught, holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent to throw it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned first. Anger does not solve problems. It clouds the mind and multiplies suffering. To overcome anger, there is only one path. Kindle the flame of compassion to extinguish resentment within. Recall the last time you were angry, your heart racing, breath quickening, face heating. Anger robs us of clarity, sharpens our words, and drives hurtful actions. Later, we often regret what we said or did. Anger is like a storm, arriving swiftly, destroying fiercely, then leaving wreckage behind. Without transformation, that storm will return again and again, disturbing our peace. The Buddha explained that anger arises from ignorance, not seeing its deeper causes. When someone harms us, we focus only on their outward action, forgetting they too are suffering. Their harsh words or unkind acts are often rooted in fear, worry, or lack of love. If we look deeper, instead of resentment, compassion arises. They are suffering, and that is why they acted this way. When compassion blooms, anger fades. There is a story of the Buddha. One day, a man came and insulted him harshly. The Buddha remained silent, calmly looking at the man. When the man left, exhausted, a disciple asked, "Why did you not become angry?" The Buddha smiled. If someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong? The disciple replied, "To the one who offered it." The Buddha said, "Likewise, if I do not accept the insults, they remain with him and cannot touch me." The simple but profound lesson: anger lives only if we feed it. If we do not receive it, it disappears like smoke in the wind. In daily life, you can practice overcoming anger with small steps. When anger arises, do not react immediately. Pause and take a deep breath. Silently tell yourself, "This is anger, not my true self." Then exhale slowly, letting anger pass like a drifting cloud. If needed, later express your feelings calmly. "What you said hurt me," rather than attacking. This way, you prevent anger's fire from burning relationships, and instead use compassion's flame to warm and heal. A Zen master once said, "When you are angry, do not speak or act. Return to your breath until even a little compassion arises within you." Have compassion for yourself, for you do not wish to be harmed by your own anger. Have compassion for the other, for they too are suffering. That compassion will melt anger like ice under the sun. Modern science also confirms that nurturing compassion releases calming chemicals, lowers heart rate, and stabilizes blood pressure. Meanwhile, prolonged anger raises the risk of heart disease, weakens the immune system, and exhausts the spirit. Thus, compassion is not only a Buddhist practice, but also a powerful medicine for body and mind. try a small practice before bed. Think of someone who once made you angry. Instead of replaying the hurt, look at them with compassion. Silently say, "May you be at peace. May you suffer less." At first, this may be difficult, but over time, you will feel lighter. When your heart is no longer weighed down by resentment, sleep will come gently. In tonight's quiet, let compassion glow like a candle, dispelling anger's darkness. Remember, anger is a guest that comes and goes, but compassion is the steady home within your heart. When you dwell in that home, no storm can steal your peace. And in that peace, you will drift into deep sleep, awakening tomorrow with a lighter, more loving heart. In life, we often believe happiness must come from grand successes, abundant wealth, or dazzling fame. Yet the more we chase, the more exhausted we feel, because happiness is not far away, but right within the most ordinary things. Living simply is the art of returning to life's essence, where we realize happiness needs no excessive conditions. The Buddha taught, "One who knows contentment is the richest." When we pause and feel grateful for what we already have, peace naturally arises. Conversely, the more we complicate life with ambition, comparison, and rivalry, the more we bind ourselves to suffering. Simplicity does not mean lack. It means choosing wisely, keeping what is essential, and letting go of the unnecessary. Picture a room. When cluttered, it feels suffocating and dim. But when cleared, light streams in, and the space feels free. Our hearts are the same. When crowded with worries, anger, and ambition, they tighten. When we release excess burdens, our hearts expand and breathe. There is a story. A Zen master invited a disciple for tea. When the cup was full, the master kept pouring until the tea overflowed. The disciple exclaimed, "Master, the cup is already full." The master smiled. "So is your mind, overflowing with worries. How can there be space for stillness? To learn the way, you must first empty your mind." So the story reminds us that simple living means letting go of the unnecessary, so peace can bloom within. In modern life, we are often swept into a whirlwind. Piled up work, constant notifications, tangled relationships. We may think that busyness equals success. But success without peace, is that truly success? Sometimes pausing to savor a humble family meal, a warm cup of morning tea, or a leisurely walk becomes the most precious moment. You can begin practicing simplicity through small steps. Each day, set aside time away from your phone to breathe and observe your surroundings. When eating, just eat. When walking, just walk. Focus on the action at hand instead of letting your mind wander. Each week, tidy your space. Keep what you need. Let go of what no longer serves you. Simple living also means releasing heavy expectations. We often suffer because we demand perfection, flawless work, loved ones who always agree, a self that never errs. But accepting imperfection is the key to lightness. When we stop clinging to "it must be this way," we begin to see the quiet beauty of the present. Modern science confirms that a simple lifestyle reduces stress, improves mental health, and lengthens life. Those who simplify their lives are less prone to stress-related illnesses, sleep more deeply, and think more clearly. Simplifying is, in truth, gifting yourself the chance to slow down and savor each moment. In Buddhist teaching, simple living is tied to few desires and contentment. The content person is not wealthy because they own everything, but because they realize what they have is enough. A modest vegetarian meal, a small roof overhead, a fresh breath of air, all can bring joy. Tonight, before closing your eyes, simplify your mind by setting down the day's worries. Take a deep breath, exhale, and imagine placing each burden, work, pressure, sorrow gently on the ground. Let your mind be as spacious as the night sky, holding only silence. In that silence, you will see happiness is simple: to breathe, to live, to rest. Simple living does not mean giving up all things. It is choosing harmony, free from entanglement. It is the art of finding happiness in the ordinary, turning small moments into treasures. When the heart is simple, life becomes naturally peaceful. And in that peace, you will drift into deep sleep, waking tomorrow with a light heart ready to embrace a new day. In daily life, speech is among the most powerful tools we use to connect with the world. A single phrase can bring joy, heal wounds, and uplift a weary soul. Yet the same words, without mindfulness, can become invisible arrows that wound others and leave us with regret. The Buddha taught, "Words are like arrows. Once released, they cannot be taken back. Speak words that bring peace to others and to yourself." Many times, in anger, we let slip harsh words. Even when we regret it later, the wound remains in the listener's heart. Sometimes in carelessness, we speak casually, unaware that our words touch someone's hidden pain. Mindful speech is not just caution, it is compassion woven into every syllable. Recall a time you received sincere encouragement. Perhaps just, "You did well," or "I believe in you." Those simple words became strength, carrying you through hardship. Conversely, a fleeting criticism can trouble us for days. Words may seem light as wind, yet their weight can exceed mountains. In the scriptures, the Buddha taught about right speech, words that are truthful, harmonious, and constructive. Right speech follows 4 principles. Do not lie, for falsehood destroys trust and creates chaos. Do not speak divisively, for such words sow discord and break unity. Do not use harsh speech, for it wounds and nurtures anger. Do not engage in idle chatter, for it wastes time and scatters the mind. Instead, choose words that heal, truthful yet kind, direct yet gentle. When we speak from a pure heart, our words become seeds of peace planted in the listener's soul. There is a short story. A disciple asked a Zen master, "Master, how do I know whether I should speak or remain silent?" The master handed him a sieve and said, "Filter your words through 3 sieves. First, is it true? Second, is it kind? Third, is it necessary? If it passes all 3, then speak." This is a precious lesson. Before speaking, pause for a breath. Let wisdom and compassion illuminate your words. In modern life, mindful speech is more necessary than ever, as media and social networks carry words farther and faster than at any time in history. A careless comment online can wound thousands and spark waves of anger. Conversely, a positive message can spread hope and uplift countless hearts. We can choose to be sowers of peace, not sources of unrest. You can practice mindful speech in simple ways. When speaking, slow down and check whether your words are wholesome. When listening, give your full attention. Do not interrupt or judge hastily. Before sending a message or posting a comment, ask yourself, is this necessary and does it bring peace? Modern science also shows that positive words reduce stress, boost the immune system, and strengthen social bonds. Conversely, environments filled with negative speech raise stress hormones, leading to anxiety and depression. Words shape not only the soul, but also physical health. Tonight, before bed, you might try a small practice. Reflect on the words you spoke today. Were there words that made you proud for bringing joy to someone? Were there words you regret for causing hurt? Take a deep breath and quietly promise yourself that tomorrow you will choose gentler, more loving words. In this silent moment, let each breath nurture peace within you, so that tomorrow every word you speak becomes a gentle flower, offering its fragrance to others and to yourself. By sowing seeds of peace with your speech, you are also sowing seeds of serenity for your own rest. And in this tender stillness, you will feel your mind lightening, relaxing, ready to step into deep and restful sleep. In communication, many people focus only on speaking, rarely realizing that listening is the doorway to understanding. Sometimes what a person needs is not advice or judgment, but simply a heart willing to listen fully. The Buddha said, "Listening with compassion can ease another's suffering more than 1,000 eloquent words." Listening is not merely using your ears, it is using your whole heart. When we truly listen to someone, we give them the feeling of being seen, valued, and not abandoned. This has an immense healing power. Some pains lessen simply by being voiced and heard. But to truly listen, we must practice mindfulness. If our minds are restless or preoccupied, we hear without really hearing. Recall a time you wanted to share your feelings, but the other person listened half-heartedly, eyes flicking to their phone, their mind elsewhere. You likely felt hurt and alone. In contrast, when someone looks into your eyes, listens silently to each word, occasionally nods, and sometimes asks a gentle question to show they care, how warm and comforting that feels. That is the power of listening with full presence. In Buddhism, listening with a compassionate heart is called compassionate listening, listening to understand and to love, not to judge or refute. When we listen with compassion, we are no longer obsessed with who is right and who is wrong, but simply wish to understand more deeply the other person's suffering. And this understanding itself opens the path to healing. There is a story. A woman came to the Buddha, weeping for the loss of her child. He did not rush to explain impermanence, nor did he urge her to be strong. He simply listened until her tears ran dry, until her heart grew lighter. Only then did he gently speak about the natural law of birth, aging, sickness, and death. Because of that compassionate listening, his words touched her heart and helped her gradually overcome her pain. This shows that sometimes listening is even more important than advice. In modern life, the art of listening is ever more precious. Amid the frantic pace, people tend to talk much, argue much, yet rarely spend time truly listening to one another. This makes relationships distant and misunderstandings frequent. If we pause to listen more, to parents, to children, to friends, to colleagues, we might discover that behind reproach is longing, behind anger is hurt, and behind silence is a heart yearning to be understood. You can begin practicing listening today with small steps. When someone is speaking, relax your body and mind. Don't rush to interrupt. Maintain eye contact and full attention so the speaker feels your presence. If thoughts arise, acknowledge them, set them aside, and return to the speaker. When you respond, use words of understanding. "I understand that you felt very sad," instead of "don't be sad." Modern science also shows that active listening significantly improves family and social relationships, reduces stress, and strengthens connection. When we are truly heard, the brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone that makes us feel safe and happier. This proves that listening is not merely a communication skill, but also a spiritual medicine. Tonight, try this small practice. Close your eyes and visualize a familiar person you wish to understand better. Imagine them sitting before you, sharing their sadness, joy, or worries. You simply listen. No judgment, no interruptions. Let your heart open and receive everything as it is. By opening your heart to listen to others in your imagination, you are also learning to listen to yourself. In the stillness of night, let the art of listening nurture compassion. For when we truly listen, we not only bring peace to others, but also sow peace within our own hearts. And with that peace, you will drift into deep sleep, as if embraced by an invisible arm of understanding. In today's world, with just a glance at your phone, you can see hundreds of images of other people's lives. Someone buying a new house, another getting promoted, friends showing off lavish vacations. It's so easy to fall into the trap of comparison. You look at yourself and feel lacking, feel not enough, and then blame or torment yourself. But the Buddha taught, do not look up at others to grow envious. Do not look down to grow arrogant. Look within yourself to improve. Comparison is like drinking salt water. The more you drink, the thirstier you become. When we compare, our peace vanishes, for there will always be someone better, richer, or more beautiful. In impermanence, there will always be someone ahead. If we keep running in this endless race, we will never find contentment. Reflect for a moment. Have you ever compared yourself to someone else, only to realize later that you missed the joy of the present? Some compare themselves to successful friends, forgetting they already have a loving family by their side. Others compare themselves to colleagues, unaware that they are living a simple, peaceful life, a life many long for. Comparison blinds us to the blessings we already have. In a Buddhist story, a novice lamented, "I feel I am not progressing as quickly as my brothers. I feel sad and inferior." The master smiled, "You need only water your own seeds. Do not compare a pomelo tree to a mango tree. Each bears its own fruit. In season, every tree offers its unique fragrance." This teaching reminds us that each person has their own path and their own time to bloom. Our task is not to chase others, but to live fully with our true values. In modern life, comparison becomes even more dangerous because social media only shows the dazzling tip of the iceberg, not the hidden struggles beneath. A smiling photo does not reveal the sadness behind the eyes. A post about success does not recount the countless failures that came before. Comparing your life to someone else's curated image is unfair to yourself. Overcoming comparison does not mean indifference to others, but learning to return to yourself. Ask, what truly makes me happy? What values do I want to nurture? When you live in alignment with those truths, you no longer worry about whether others are moving faster or slower, because you know you are walking your own path. You can practice overcoming comparison in several ways. Each day, write down 3 things you are grateful for about yourself. It could be your patience, your care for your family, or simply a smile you offered someone. When you notice yourself beginning to compare, return to your breath and remind yourself, everyone has their own journey, and I am on mine. Reduce the time spent scrolling through social media if you feel it plants seeds of comparison in your mind. Science also shows that people who frequently compare themselves negatively are more prone to anxiety, insomnia, and depression. Conversely, those who appreciate their own value and live at their own pace tend to have better mental health and greater life satisfaction. Tonight, before you sleep, you can practice a short visualization. Place your hand on your heart, close your eyes, and whisper, "I am unique. I am complete as I am." Let this phrase flow like cool water into your soul, washing away comparisons and self-doubt. When you trust in your true worth, sleep comes more gently, and you awaken with a serene smile. In the quiet of the night, remember that you do not need to become someone else to be happy. Just by being yourself, living with honesty and compassion, you are already a flower blooming beautifully in life's garden. As you drift into sleep, you can smile, knowing you are whole and worthy right here and now. Fear is one of the most powerful emotions humans face. It can make your legs tremble, your heart race, and your mind spin. Sometimes fear comes from real dangers, but more often it arises from imagination, from things that have not yet happened. The Buddha taught, there are 2 kinds of suffering. Suffering of the present and suffering of imagination. The wise bear only the suffering of the present. Fear is like darkness. From afar, it appears vast and terrifying. But when you light the lamp of mindfulness, you see it is only a shadow projected by the mind, like a child frightened by their own shadow on the wall. Once they understand, the fear dissolves. In the scriptures, there is a story. A man walking at night saw what he thought was a snake blocking his path. Terrified, he froze. The next morning in the daylight, he discovered it was only a rope. The fear vanished, not because the snake had gone, but because truth had been revealed. Likewise, most of our fears arise from mental projections, and when illuminated by wisdom, they fade. Fear often springs from three roots: fear of loss, fear of change, and fear of death. But through the teaching of impermanence, we learn that all things change. The more we resist change, the more anxious we become. When we accept impermanence, we see that loss is a natural part of life, and death is not an end but a continuation in another form. Understanding this, we gradually overcome fear. In modern life, fear lurks everywhere. Fear of failure at work, fear of being judged, fear of not being good enough, fear of losing loved ones. Sometimes we live our whole lives running from fear, forgetting that courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to face it and smile. You can practice overcoming fear by, when fear arises, breathe in deeply, breathe out slowly, and name it. Hello, fear. Recognizing it calms the mind. Write down what you fear and ask, what is the worst that could happen? What can I learn from it? Seeing it clearly makes fear less vague. Reflect on impermanence. Every fear, no matter how strong, will pass like a cloud across the sky. Modern science also confirms that facing and acknowledging fear, rather than avoiding it, reduces the brain's stress response and activates the areas responsible for problem solving. Those who practice mindfulness with fear tend to be more resilient and recover faster from hardship. A Zen master once taught, sit with your fear as you would with a friend. Invite it for tea, ask about its story, then smile. When it is truly heard, it will shrink and fade. This teaching reminds us that fear need not be chased away, just embraced and understood. Tonight, before sleeping, you can try a small practice. Close your eyes and recall a fear that has been troubling you. Instead of pushing it away, breathe in, breathe out, and silently say, I know you are here. I am not running. Then imagine this fear as a cloud drifting gently across the sky of your mind. You are not your fear, you are the observer of it. And in that observation, you find freedom. As you relax into your breath, you will discover a peaceful strength within you, always present, unmoved by any fear. That strength is the quiet essence of your mind. Realizing this, you can rest easy, as though cradled in the protective embrace of your own inner peace. Even when facing fear, you can always find strength within. If this sharing has brought you peace, please like and subscribe to Dharma in Motion to spread positive energy to others. In life, we often set many expectations, expecting others to behave the way we want, expecting work to go smoothly, expecting relationships to be perfect, expecting tomorrow to be brighter than today. These expectations are like invisible strings that tie our hearts to the future. When reality doesn't follow the path we imagined, disappointment and suffering quickly follow. The Buddha once taught, the origin of suffering is craving and attachment. Expectations at their core are a form of attachment. Expectation is not necessarily bad. It can be a source of motivation. But when we cling too tightly, we forget that life is impermanent and beyond our full control. Some expect their spouses or children to live exactly as they wish. Some expect dazzling career success. Some expect themselves never to fail. In truth, everyone has their own path, their own steps that may not align with others' wishes. When expectations are too high, we turn love into pressure and make ourselves miserable chasing illusions. A Zen story illustrates this. A monk lamented to his master, "I'm sad because my disciples don't practice as diligently as I hoped." The master smiled. "When you plant a mango tree, do you expect it to bear oranges?" The student was silent. Each person has their own conditions and karma. Demanding someone live according to our expectations is a form of coercion that leads to disappointment. In modern life, expectations weigh even heavier as we compare ourselves and set higher standards. We expect ourselves to achieve much in little time, expect our children to excel, expect our partners to be flawless. But the more expectations we hold, the less peace we find. We are not living in the present, we are chasing an imagined future. How can we let go of expectations? First, recognize, this is my expectation, not reality. Awareness of this boundary keeps us from being swept away. Replace expectation with aspiration. We can hope for good things while accepting that outcomes unfold through conditions. Aspiration arises from a wholesome heart, while expectation often carries attachment. Practice gratitude for what is instead of endlessly waiting for what might be. Gratitude anchors us in the present and reveals that happiness need not wait for the future. Psychology also shows that those who reduce expectations and practice acceptance are happier and less stressed. By loosening expectations, we avoid the clash between what we want and what is. We stop living in disappointment and open our hearts to life as it is. Tonight, you can try a small exercise. Recall a recent expectation that caused you suffering, perhaps about someone else or about yourself. Breathe in, breathe out, and whisper, "I release this expectation. I welcome things as they are." Feel the lightness of not needing to control everything. That is inner freedom. In the stillness of night, as you lie down, let your mind flow with your breath, unbound by right and wrong. Let life come naturally to you, like wind blowing or the moon rising, without forcing. When you let go of expectations, you truly live and savor the present moment. In this serenity, sleep will come gently, as a gift of release. In life, we often think happiness comes from receiving love, material things, praise. But the deeper we go into the Buddha's teachings, the more we realize that lasting joy comes from giving. The Buddha taught, "One who knows how to give is free at heart." Where giving is not merely an action, it is a way of life, a way of opening the heart to connect with all beings. Giving does not have to be grand. Sometimes a simple smile can warm another's heart. A timely word of encouragement can help someone rise after a fall. A small gesture, like offering your seat on a bus, can spread kindness. Giving does not require wealth, only a heart willing to share. There is a beautiful story from the scriptures. One day the Buddha and his disciples went on alms round. A poor old woman had only a single handful of rice for the day. She offered all of it to the Buddha, keeping nothing for herself. The disciples were astonished, but the Buddha smiled. Her merit is immeasurable, for she gave in the spirit of selflessness, without calculation. From this, we learn that the value of giving lies not in quantity, but in the heart. In modern life, people sometimes hesitate to give for fear of loss. But in truth, giving is how we receive more. When we help someone, we bring joy to them and plant seeds of happiness in our own hearts. The human brain releases endorphins and oxytocin, the chemicals of warmth and joy, when performing acts of kindness. That's why those who regularly practice generosity often feel life is more meaningful. Giving is also a way to free ourselves from attachment. When we cling too tightly to possessions, status, or praise, we become anxious and fearful of loss. But when we dare to give, we affirm to ourselves, "I am not bound by this." That is true freedom. You can practice giving every day in simple ways. Smile at a stranger. Spend a few minutes listening to a friend's worries. Share a small part of your income with someone in need. Or simply forgive. Forgiveness is also a form of giving others a chance and giving yourself relief. Some worry that giving too much will leave them disadvantaged. But like a candle lighting another, the light is not lost. It grows brighter. Giving is the one path where, in losing, we gain even more. Tonight, before you sleep, recall a time when you gave, perhaps a gift, a word of encouragement, or a helping hand. Feel the warm joy of that moment. Then place your hand on your heart and whisper, "Tomorrow I will plant another seed of love." Just one seed, over time, will bloom into a garden of peace within you. In the quiet of the night, as you rest your head on the pillow, let your heart fill with gratitude for the ability to give. For it is through giving that we become truly rich. Rich in love, in serenity. And as you close your eyes, you can smile, knowing that tomorrow you will again live in the joy of sharing. Perhaps one of the hardest things in life is not forgiving others, but forgiving and accepting ourselves. We often find it easy to show compassion for someone else's mistakes, yet remain harsh with ourselves. We blame ourselves for errors, regret wrong decisions, compare ourselves to others, and feel inadequate. But the Buddha once taught, "You yourself, as much as anybody in the universe, deserve your love and affection." Accepting yourself does not mean giving up or living carelessly. It means seeing yourself fully, both strengths and flaws, without denial or rejection. When we dare to look at ourselves with compassion, we give ourselves the chance to change and grow. A story from the scriptures tells of a young monk who repeatedly broke minor precepts. Each time he scolded himself, felt guilty, and wanted to abandon the path. The Buddha, knowing this, said, "Like someone learning music, you cannot expect to play the rhythm perfectly the first time. What matters is the patience to keep practicing." Hearing this, the monk understood. Rather than punishing himself, he should treat mistakes as lessons for progress. Today, many people torment themselves with unrealistic expectations. "I must be perfect to be worthy of love." But in truth, no one is perfect. Like the lotus flower that blooms from mud to give off its fragrance, it is our cracks and errors that make us deeper and more compassionate. Reflect for a moment. How many times have you spoken harsh words to yourself? Words you would never speak to someone you love. If you would not say them to another, why plant them in your own heart? From now on, try replacing self-criticism with gentle encouragement. "I did my best. I deserve to rest. I can begin again tomorrow." You can practice self-acceptance in small ways. Each day, stand before a mirror and smile at yourself as if greeting a dear friend. When you make a mistake, instead of saying, "I'm terrible," say, "I just learned something new." Write down 3 things you appreciate about yourself, no matter how small: patience, kindness, or your ability to listen. Modern science confirms that those who practice self-compassion experience less stress and depression and recover more quickly from setbacks. Loving yourself does not make you weak. It is the foundation for moving forward with strength. Tonight, try this simple practice before sleep. Place your hand on your heart. Inhale and whisper, "I see you, my dearest friend." Exhale and say, "I accept you exactly as you are." Repeat a few times and you will feel warmth spreading through you, as though you are holding yourself in a gentle embrace. When you accept yourself, you no longer need to run from your inner shadows. You dare to acknowledge them, to love them, and from there, you begin to shine. Only by being compassionate with yourself can you truly love others. And as you close your eyes and let your breath carry you into sleep, smile, knowing you are enough, you are worthy, and you are loved. Right here, right now. The past is like a closed book. No matter how many times you reread it, its pages do not change. Yet many carry that book on their backs, weighing down each step. They cling to old wounds, to words that hurt them, or to failures that make them blame themselves. But the Buddha taught, do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Live in the present moment. When we cling to the past, it is like dragging a suitcase full of stones. The farther we drag it, the more exhausted we become, and the heavier the journey ahead feels. Some pains are long gone, yet we replay them in our minds like wounds that never heal. In truth, the pain is only a memory now. It is our mind that clings to it, while reality has already moved on. A Zen story illustrates this. Two monks were crossing a river. Seeing a young woman needing help, one monk carried her across. Later, the other monk scolded him. "Why did you carry a woman? That breaks the precepts." The first monk smiled. "I left her on the riverbank long ago. Why are you still carrying her in your mind?" The story reminds us that some things have already ended. If we let go, the burden falls away. In modern life, we often get stuck in the past, replaying mistakes at work, haunted by broken relationships, or regretting missed opportunities. But if we do not release the past, we can never fully live in the present. How to let go of the past. First, acknowledge that the past cannot be changed. The only thing you can change is how you look at it. View your mistakes and pains as lessons. Instead of saying, "I failed," say, "I gained valuable experience." Practice forgiveness, not only for others, but also for yourself. Forgiveness does not erase memory. It stops the memory from continuing to hurt you. Psychological research confirms that clinging to the past can lead to depression, while acceptance and letting go bring ease, reduce stress, and increase focus on the present. Those who practice present moment awareness often find life lighter and more vibrant. Tonight, before you sleep, try this simple exercise. Close your eyes and recall something from the past that still weighs on your heart. Inhale and whisper, "This is just a memory." Exhale and say, "I release it." Repeat several times and feel the burden in your heart grow lighter. In the stillness of night, let the past rest and let your mind settle in the present. For this very moment is the real gift, the gift you can open and savor. When you release the past, you truly open the door to the present, where peace and happiness await. And in that serenity, sleep will come to you, gentle and deep, like life's tender embrace. If the past cannot be changed and the future has yet to come, what truly belongs to us? Only this moment. The Buddha taught, "Do not seek the past, do not chase the future. The past is gone, the future has not yet arrived. Only the present is life." Yet most of us let our minds wander everywhere, rarely stopping to live fully in this moment. Living fully in the present does not mean denying the past or neglecting the future. It means placing your whole awareness on what is happening now. When eating, truly savor the taste of the food. When walking, truly feel your feet touching the earth. When breathing, be aware of each breath entering and leaving. These seemingly small things are the art of mindfulness. A famous Zen master was once asked the secret of happiness. He smiled and said, "When walking, I know I am walking. When eating, I know I am eating. When sleeping, I know I am sleeping." To the listener, it seemed too simple. But in reality, that simplicity is the essence of mindfulness. Being fully present in each act without letting the mind wander. In today's fast-paced world, we often eat while scrolling on our phones or work while thinking about countless other tasks. The result is that we live halfway in everything, never experiencing anything completely. The mind grows anxious like a monkey leaping from branch to branch. Mindfulness is the string that gently tethers the monkey, allowing the mind to rest in the present. How to live more mindfully. Start with your breath. Whenever you notice your mind scattered, pause and take a deep breath. Just 3 mindful breaths are enough to bring you back to the present. When eating, eat in silence, savoring each bite instead of rushing. When walking, focus on each step, letting your footsteps move with your breath. When conversing, listen with full attention, without thinking ahead to your response. Modern studies show that mindfulness reduces stress, improves sleep, and enhances mental health. Those who practice mindfulness are happier because they do not miss the precious moments of life. Tonight, before you sleep, try this exercise. As you lie down, feel your body from head to toe. Notice the touch of the sheets, the cool breeze brushing your skin, the steady beat of your heart. Do not think about tomorrow or recall yesterday. Simply rest in the life that is here, now. Living fully in the present does not mean avoiding all difficulties, but it helps you face them with calm and clarity. Only by truly being present can you enjoy joy, nurture peace, and plant seeds of happiness. As you close your eyes, whisper, "I am alive, I am at peace." Let your mind dissolve into the night's stillness, and you will find sleep arriving like a miracle, gentle, deep, and complete in the present. Life is like a vast marketplace full of tempting calls, luxurious possessions, fleeting pleasures, empty fame. All these distractions can shake your heart like a lantern in the wind. Without mindfulness, you can easily lose yourself in their swirl. The Buddha taught, "Those who master their desires will find peace." Temptation is not always something grand. Sometimes it is just a small habit that pulls us away from serenity. Scrolling on social media too long, overeating, or immersing ourselves in meaningless pleasures. All of these gradually cloud the mind. A tiny speck of dust, if left uncleaned, will eventually form a thick layer that covers an entire room. The mind is the same. Small temptations, repeated again and again, can dull our clarity. A story from the scriptures tells of a monkey trapped by hunters. They coated a piece of wood with sticky sap. Out of curiosity, the monkey touched it and got stuck. Using the other hand to free itself, it got stuck again. Then its legs, then its whole body, all caught. Temptation works the same way. Harmless at first glance, but without mindfulness, it binds us little by little. In modern life, temptation is everywhere. Enticing ads, social media full of comparisons, fleeting pleasures that whisper just a little more. Yet the more we chase, the emptier we feel. True peace is not found outside, but in a mind that knows contentment and self-control. How to overcome temptation. Recognize, pause, and name the temptation. When desire arises, breathe slowly and say, "This is craving." Recognition itself is a powerful step to avoid being swept away. Reflect on consequences. Ask yourself, if I give in, what will happen? Will it bring momentary pleasure but lasting regret or genuine benefit? Replace with healthy habits. When tempted to scroll endlessly, try mindful walking for a few minutes. When tempted to overeat, drink warm water and observe your feelings. The mind cannot remain empty. Replace temptation with nourishment. Maintain balance. Do not be extreme or harsh with yourself, but also do not indulge entirely. A balanced mind is like a still lake, undisturbed by passing winds. Modern science shows that resisting temptation activates feelings of pride and longer-lasting happiness in the brain, far greater than fleeting pleasure. Self-control is not just discipline, it is freedom, freedom from dependency. Tonight, before sleep, try this small exercise. Close your eyes and recall a time you overcame temptation, perhaps choosing to read a book instead of scrolling your phone, or patiently listening instead of losing your temper. Feel the pride and relief of that moment. Inhale, whisper, "I am in control." Exhale, whisper, "I am at peace." Learning to overcome temptation keeps us from being blown about like a leaf in the wind. Our mind becomes steady, free amidst life's many crossroads, and that steadiness will guide you into peaceful sleep, like a candle glowing quietly in the dark, unmoved by passing gusts. In life, no one can avoid suffering. Whether rich or poor, powerful or ordinary, everyone carries hidden wounds and sorrows. The Buddha called this the first noble truth. Life is suffering. But suffering is not meant to make us despair. It is an opportunity for insight and growth. Like a lotus that blooms only from muddy water, wisdom and compassion arise from hardship. Suffering can stem from many sources: loss, separation, failure, or simply unmet expectations. Many fear suffering and try to escape it with fleeting pleasures, but the more we run, the more suffering follows. In truth, suffering is like a crying child. If we gently embrace it, it will quiet down. A story tells of a woman who lost her only child. In despair, she begged the Buddha to bring him back to life. The Buddha asked her to collect mustard seeds from a house untouched by death. She searched everywhere but found none. She realized then that death and sorrow belong to all beings. From that realization, she accepted her pain and gradually found peace. In today's world, suffering is still an inseparable part of life. But rather than blaming life, we can see suffering as a teacher. It teaches us to cherish happiness, to cultivate compassion when seeing others suffer, and to rise stronger after we stumble. How to transform suffering. Recognize, do not deny or suppress pain. Inhale and name it. This is sadness. This is anger. Recognition allows care. Embrace. Treat your pain like a crying child. Place a hand on your chest, breathe deeply, and whisper, "I know you are hurting. I am here for you." Reflect. See deeply that suffering is impermanent. It too will pass. Like a storm, no matter how fierce, it cannot last forever. Turn pain into action. Use suffering to grow kindness. Those who have suffered often develop deeper empathy and generosity. Modern science also confirms that those who accept and transform suffering tend to have stronger mental health. They are less likely to despair because they see pain as part of life's journey. Tonight, try this small exercise. Close your eyes and recall a recent pain. Inhale, whisper, "I accept you." Exhale, whisper, "I release you." Repeat several times and you may feel your pain soften and dissolve. The lotus is not afraid of mud, for it is from mud that it blooms. Likewise, through suffering, we become understanding and mature. In this moment, as you let suffering rest, you also let your heart rest, ready to welcome sleep as calm as a still lake beneath a gentle moon. On the path of seeking happiness, we often chase grand things: a thriving career, a beautiful house, achievements admired by others. Yet the Buddha taught, knowing enough is wealth, living simply is peace. Oh, true happiness is not found in distant dreams, but in the small, ordinary moments of daily life. Simple joy can come from a morning sunrise, when you open the window and see golden sunlight flooding the leaves. It can be a hot cup of tea on a rainy afternoon, a smile from a loved one, or simply a deep breath, aware that you are still alive. Those things that seem small, if you pause to feel them, become an infinite source of happiness. There is a story about a man who often complained that his life was too hard. One day, a friend advised him, "Each night, write down 3 small things you are grateful for today." At first, he found it difficult, thinking there was nothing worth noting, but gradually he began to notice the warm meal his wife cooked, his child's smile, or even a cool breeze on a hot summer day. These were happiness. From then on, he stopped complaining and felt his life was more worthwhile. In today's busy world, many people miss simple joys because they are always chasing something grand. We eat without truly tasting, walk without feeling our steps, talk without truly listening. As a result, simple joy slips through our fingers without our knowing. How can we rediscover happiness in small things? Pause and pay attention. When eating, truly savor the taste. When looking at flowers, observe every petal and color carefully. Cultivate gratitude. Practice recognizing the small but precious things. A stranger giving up a seat on the bus, or a sincere inquiry about your well-being. Reduce comparison. Don't always look at what others have. Look at what you already have. Simple joy only blooms in the soil of contentment. Slow down. Instead of rushing, give yourself time to enjoy. A quiet cup of tea can bring more peace than a noisy party. Many scientific studies affirm that people who appreciate simple joys are happier and less stressed. They are better protected against depression, and their relationships are stronger thanks to their full presence. Tonight, before you sleep, you can try a small practice. Close your eyes and recall 3 small things that made you smile today. It might be a tender gaze, a delicious meal, or just a few moments of gentle breathing. Hold those memories in your heart and silently say, "I am grateful." As you drift into sleep, you will feel lighter and more at peace. Simple joy is like small candles. A single candle may not shine brightly, but many candles together can illuminate an entire room. In life, small happinesses, when gathered and cherished, weave a life of peace. And in this quiet night, let those simple joys guide you into deep sleep, as if entering a garden full of gentle light and warm laughter. On the long journey of life, we may walk many stretches alone, but no one can live without friendship. True friendship is not only a source of joy, but also a spiritual anchor that helps us stand firm against life's storms. The Buddha once taught, "A good friend is the whole of the spiritual path." For when we have a companion on the path of spirit and life, our hearts feel stronger and clearer. True friendship is not built on advantage, but on understanding and trust. A real friend does not need to meet us every day, but with just a word or a glance, we feel their empathy. They do not always need to offer advice. Sometimes they only need to listen in silence, but their presence alone is enough to bring us peace. There is a story in the scriptures. Ananda, the Buddha's close attendant, once said, "Blessed One, I think good friendship is half of the spiritual path." The Buddha smiled and replied, "Do not say that, Ananda. Good friendship is not half, but the whole of the path." Through this teaching, we understand that true friendship is a great source of strength, a mirror for reflection, and a refuge to which we can return. In today's world, amid the rush and competition, finding a true friend is not easy. Many relationships remain at the level of formality, sometimes even calculation. But if you are fortunate to have a friend who understands and is willing to be there through both joy and sorrow, that is a treasure more precious than any wealth. How can we nurture genuine friendship? Be honest, don't wear a mask, be yourself in friendship. Only when you are sincere can the relationship endure. Listen. A good friend not only knows how to speak, but also how to listen, to understand rather than to refute. Share and support. When your friend faces difficulties, offer your hand. When they succeed, rejoice with them without envy. Be tolerant. Everyone makes mistakes. Friendship is sustained by forgiveness and empathy. Many scientific studies also confirm that those with lasting friendships tend to live longer, experience less stress, and are happier. Friendship is like a shield protecting the soul against life's pressures. Tonight, before you sleep, you can try a small practice. Close your eyes and recall a genuine friend of yours. Picture their face, their voice, and the memories they've brought you. Silently send them a blessing. May you always be peaceful and happy. When your heart radiates such love, you will feel lighter, and sleep more soundly. True friendship is the bridge that connects one heart to another, the lamp that shines when darkness surrounds. To cherish and nurture friendship is to preserve a part of peace within your own soul. And in this quiet night, let the memory of beautiful friendship lull you to sleep, as if walking under moonlight with a companion silently beside you, so you will never feel alone. In everyday life, we easily slip into judgment. Seeing someone dressed differently, we quickly think they're strange. Hearing someone say something we disagree with, we immediately assume they're wrong. But such judgments not only wound others, they also burden our own hearts. The Buddha once taught, "Do not believe something simply because many people say it. Contemplate deeply to understand." This teaching reminds us that judgment is a layer of dust clouding the truth. Only observation with compassion can lead to understanding. When we judge, we are really looking through our own subjective lens, a lens tinted by past experiences and biases. Thus, instead of seeing reality, we see the shadow of our ego. Like a foggy mirror, no matter how beautiful the object is, its reflection becomes distorted. A Zen story tells of two people looking at a vase. One said the vase was blue, the other said it was red, and they argued fiercely. When they turned the vase, they realized one half was blue, the other red. Each had seen only a part but believed it to be the whole truth. Life is the same. Everyone sees just a fragment, yet rushes to judge as if they see it all. In today's society, judgment has become easier than ever. Just a photo or a social media post can provoke countless harsh comments. But we forget that behind the screen is a person with a story we do not fully know. Every judgment can become an invisible blade, cutting deeply into another's heart. How can we let go of judgment? Practice pausing. Before speaking or thinking negatively, pause for a breath. A small question, "Am I sure this is true?" can awaken mindfulness. Reflect on circumstances. The other person may act that way because they are suffering. Instead of judging, we can look with compassion. Practice listening. When we listen fully, we understand more and judge less quickly. Nurture compassion. When our hearts are filled with compassion, judgment dissolves, making space for tolerance. Psychology also shows that those who judge less often have better mental health, build stronger relationships, and experience less anxiety. By letting go of judgment, we also release a burden from our own hearts. Tonight, before sleeping, you can try a small exercise. Recall a recent time you judged someone. Close your eyes, inhale deeply, and exhale with the whisper, "I open my heart in tolerance." Imagine removing a foggy lens from your eyes to see that person in a clearer light. You will feel your heart grow lighter and your sleep will be more peaceful. Letting go of judgment doesn't mean abandoning discernment of right and wrong. It simply means choosing to see others with understanding and love instead of harshness and narrowness. When judgment is replaced by tolerance, our hearts expand like the sky, able to hold both storms and sunlight. And this openness will carry you into deep sleep with a serene smile on your lips. Each time we learn to let go of judgment, our hearts open a little more. If you find peace in these moments, please like and subscribe to Dharma in Motion to nurture the path of mindfulness together. Today's hurried pace makes people like machines in constant motion. We chase work, plans, and goals, often forgetting that we are alive. Sometimes we eat without tasting, walk without feeling, and talk without truly listening. The faster we rush, the more restless our hearts become. The Buddha once taught, "Do not be hasty, for haste destroys mindfulness." And that teaching is the key to the art of slow living. Living slowly does not mean abandoning everything, but knowing how to pause and savor each moment. When we walk a little slower, we notice the flowers blooming by the roadside, hear the birds singing, and feel the beating of our own hearts. When we eat slowly, we taste the sweetness of fruit, the saltiness of salt, and gratitude overflows as life nourishes us with each bite. A story tells of a Zen master invited to enjoy a bowl of soup. He ate each spoonful slowly, chewing gently, his eyes half closed. When asked why he ate so slowly, he smiled. "I am not just eating soup. I am eating the sun, the rain, the earth, and the efforts of all those who planted, harvested, and cooked." Through this, he taught that every moment contains the whole universe, if only we live slowly enough to see it. In modern society, people often see fast living as a sign of success. But the faster we run, the more exhausted we become. Many cases of stress, anxiety, and insomnia stem from this hurried lifestyle. In contrast, slow living helps regulate our heartbeat, reduce pressure, and restore inner peace. How can we practice living slowly? Begin with the breath. Whenever you feel rushed, stop and take 3 deep breaths. The breath is the doorway back to the present moment. Do one thing at a time. When drinking tea, just drink tea. Don't rush to check your phone. When walking, just walk, feeling each step touch the earth. Spend time in nature. An afternoon watching the sunset or a walk in the park nourishes the soul more than 100 noisy news feeds. Rearrange priorities. Not everything needs to be done immediately. Distinguish what is truly important from what only keeps you busy without meaning. Modern science also shows that those who know how to live slowly tend to have better mental health, less stress, and more restful sleep. Living slowly doesn't make you fall behind. It helps you stay steady and clear-headed to go farther. Tonight, before going to sleep, you can try a small exercise. Sit or lie still and breathe very slowly. Notice each breath in and out, feeling the quiet spreading through your body. Let your mind be like a calm lake reflecting the clear moonlight. Then gently smile and whisper, "I am complete in this moment." You will feel peace flowing through your whole being, carrying you into deep sleep. Living slowly is the art of living fully. Every moment, when lived slowly and mindfully, becomes a shining gem in life. And tonight, as you close your eyes, let the peace of a slow rhythm cradle you like a gentle melody, guiding you into serene dreams. In a noisy world, where car horns, work sounds, and endless streams of information surround us, silence becomes a precious gift. Modern people often fear silence because when the outer noise fades, they must face themselves. But the Buddha once taught, in silence, wisdom arises. It is within silence that we can hear the true voice of our hearts. Silence does not mean emptiness, but a profound fullness. It is like a still lake perfectly reflecting the sky. When our minds are quiet, we can see thoughts and emotions clearly, like ripples appearing and fading away. Free from being swept along, we can then choose how to live and act wisely. There is a story. A king once visited a Zen master and asked, "Can you give me the most precious gift so that I may always have peace?" The master handed him an empty cup. The king was surprised, but the master said, "When your mind is like this empty cup, silent and spacious, peace will naturally fill it." Through this, we understand that silence is not absence, but the space that nourishes serenity. In life, silence takes many forms. There is the silence of nature, the sound of wind through forests, the distant crash of waves. There is the silence of night when all sounds fade, leaving vast emptiness. And there is the silence within, the moment we stop arguing, stop judging, and simply observe in stillness. How can we find strength in silence? Practice silent meditation. Each day, spend a few minutes simply sitting quietly, breathing and observing your mind. Don't force thoughts away, just let them come and go. Create silent spaces. Turn off your phone, TV, and give yourself a few moments without noise. Silence in communication. Sometimes silence is the deepest form of listening. You don't always need to respond. Just be present with your heart. Silence for healing. When anger rises, remain silent for a moment to let the fire settle. That silence can save a relationship. Science also confirms that silence offers profound benefits, reducing stress, improving concentration, and enhancing creativity. Just 2 minutes of sitting in silence each day can help the brain recover, like a field refreshed by rain after scorching sun. Tonight, before sleep, you can try a small practice. Lie down, turn off all devices, and let the room fall into silence. Listen to your breath rising and falling. Listen to your steady heartbeat. If thoughts intrude, smile and let them drift away, then return to the silence. You will realize that silence is not frightening. It is gentle, like an embrace for your soul, guiding you into deep sleep. The power of silence is not about avoiding the world, but about nourishing your inner self. When you cherish silence, you bring its peaceful energy into every word and action. And tonight, as you let your mind dissolve into quiet, you will hear your own voice, a gentle, clear voice that wishes you peace. Life is like a long journey, and we often carry too much luggage. That luggage consists of old memories, unfulfilled desires, resentments, and worries for tomorrow. We think holding tight will keep us safe, but in truth, the more we carry, the heavier our steps become. The Buddha once taught, letting go is not losing, it is gaining peace. It is through release that we truly find freedom. Imagine holding a stone tightly. The longer you hold it, the more your hand aches. Just by letting it go, you instantly feel relief. The mind is the same. When we cling to anger or ambition, we create our own suffering. Letting go doesn't mean indifference or neglect, but understanding that all things are impermanent and nothing lasts long enough to cling to. There is a story. 2 monks were walking along a muddy road. Seeing a young woman unable to cross the river, one monk carried her across. The other monk remained silent the whole way, troubled inside. Finally, he scolded his companion, "We are monks. Why did you carry a woman?" The monk smiled and replied, "I set her down long ago, but you are still carrying her in your heart." The story teaches us that letting go is putting down the burden so the heart can rest. In modern life, we are often pulled by many things: unfinished work, unspoken words, unmet expectations. But ask yourself, do you need to hold on to them all? When you release a little, you make room for peace. How can we learn the art of letting go? Recognize what you're clinging to. Ask yourself, is this truly necessary? If not, have the courage to release it. Practice forgiveness. Letting go is also forgiving, both others and yourself. Forgiveness doesn't erase memories, but it frees you from pain. Contemplate impermanence. Remember that everything will change. When we see impermanence clearly, letting go becomes more natural. Relax into the present. Each breath is a chance to release. Breathing in, we acknowledge the burden. Breathing out, we smile and let it go. Science also shows that those who can release negative emotions often have stronger immune systems, experience less stress, and are happier. When we let go, body and mind find ease, like a room that opens its windows to light after many days closed. Tonight, before sleeping, you can try a small practice. Recall something that weighed on you today. Close your eyes, place your hand on your chest, inhale deeply and exhale slowly. Imagine setting that burden down by the roadside, like a traveler resting after a long journey. Whisper, "I let go so my heart can be free." Then surrender to sleep in lightness. Letting go is not losing. It is stepping into a new fullness. When we release, we create space for love, for peace, for smiling at life. And tonight, as you close your eyes, Let the art of letting go carry you into deep sleep, like a bird returning to its nest after a long day, peaceful and at rest. People often chase happiness in distant places, a great success, a beautiful home, or a high position in society. But sometimes the more we chase, the emptier happiness seems. The Buddha once taught, "Knowing enough is the greatest wealth. Gratitude is the deepest happiness." In truth, happiness isn't far away, it's here, in the simple things around us, waiting for us to pause and open our hearts. A morning where sunlight streams softly through the window, a warm cup of tea in your hands, a loving smile from someone dear, all of these are happiness. Yet, with our busy minds, we often dismiss them as ordinary and overlook them. Only when they're gone do we regret. So why not learn gratitude and appreciation today? There is a story of a man who spent his life searching for treasure. He traveled everywhere, across forests and seas, yet found nothing. Returning home exhausted, he sat in his old kitchen, hearing the laughter of his wife and children and smelling freshly cooked rice. In that moment, he realized the treasure he had sought all along was right here, in the warmth of his home. He had simply never paused to see it. Gratitude is the key that unlocks present happiness. When we are grateful, the heart opens wide and everything around us becomes precious. Be grateful to your parents for giving you life, to the farmers who sow the seeds, to the stranger who smiles at you on the street, and even to the challenges that help you grow. How can we cultivate happiness through gratitude? Write down 3 things you're grateful for each day. Before sleeping, recall 3 simple things that brought you joy today: a greeting, a delicious meal, or simply the gift of breath. Practice mindfulness in action. When drinking water, be grateful for the cool, life-giving source. When eating rice, be grateful for the sun, rain, earth, and all the people who contributed. Share your gratitude. Sometimes a sincere thank you can warm another's heart, and in doing so, you'll feel happier too. Be grateful for difficulties. Each challenge is a teacher, teaching you patience and courage. Science also confirms that those who practice gratitude regularly sleep better, worry less, and enjoy better health. When we are grateful, the mind stops demanding and resenting, replacing them with contentment and satisfaction. Tonight, before closing your eyes, try a small practice. Place your hand on your chest, take a deep breath, and think of one simple thing you're grateful for today. Smile and whisper, "Thank you, life." With each breath, gratitude will flow through your body and mind, soothing your worries and guiding you into peaceful sleep. Happiness is not far away. It's in a tender gaze, a warm meal, a slow, mindful step. When you practice gratitude, you'll see that life is never lacking, but always abundant. And tonight, as you immerse yourself in the stream of gratitude, you'll feel gentle happiness cradling you, like a lullaby carrying you into deep sleep. There is an undeniable truth. Everything in life changes. Nothing lasts forever. Youth fades, beauty withers, wealth slips away, and loved ones will one day depart. The Buddha made it clear, all conditioned phenomena are impermanent. When you see this with wisdom, you will be free from sorrow. Yet people often forget this. We want to hold on, wishing today's beauty would last forever. But the tighter we cling, the more it hurts when change comes. Impermanence is not something to fear. It is the wondrous law that teaches us to cherish each moment. There is a story of a king who sought a phrase that would comfort him in sorrow and remind him when joyful. After many years, he received a ring engraved with 4 words, "This too shall pass." When sad, he looked at the ring and felt relieved, knowing sorrow would not stay. When happy, he looked at the ring and remembered to live fully, for joy would not last forever. That is the wisdom of impermanence. Looking deeply into impermanence, we learn 2 precious lessons. Cherish the present. When we understand that everything changes, we see each moment as priceless. A loved one's smile, a soft afternoon sun, or a warm bowl of rice all deserve to be held with gratitude. Learn to let go, realizing that nothing lasts forever. We cling less to wealth, fame, or old wounds. Letting go becomes easier because we know it's the natural law. In modern life, many fear change, losing a job, moving homes, or facing sudden upheavals. Yet impermanence also brings opportunity. When one door closes, another opens. Just as a seed must break apart for a sprout to emerge, or winter must pass for spring to arrive. How to remain at peace with impermanence. Practice mindfulness. Each day, pause to feel the present moment. When you breathe, know that this breath is unique, never to repeat. Observe nature. Flowers bloom and fade, leaves turn green, then wither. Watching nature, we see impermanence as natural, nothing to fear. Nurture a letting go mind. Don't cling to what has passed, nor worry too much about what has yet to come. Live fully in what is. See difficulties as teachers. Every change, even painful ones, contains lessons that help us grow and strengthen. Modern psychology also confirms that those who accept change experience less stress, adapt more easily, and maintain better mental health. Instead of resisting, they move with the flow. And this flexibility is what makes them resilient. Tonight, before sleeping, recall a recent change in your life, a loss or an unexpected turning point. Breathe in deeply, exhale slowly, and whisper, "Everything will pass, and I accept it with peace." Let worry melt away, replaced by gentle acceptance, and you'll feel your heart grow lighter, ready for deep sleep. Impermanence is not darkness, but the light that shows us the value of the present. Thanks to impermanence, we learn to love each moment, to release attachments, and to find freedom within. Tonight, as you close your eyes, let the reminder, "This too shall pass," be a soft lamp guiding your soul into peaceful rest. In life, everyone is hurt at times by others' words or actions. Some wounds fade quickly, but others leave scars we carry for years. Anger and resentment are like a double-edged sword, aimed at another, but cutting our own heart each day. The Buddha taught, holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal to throw at someone else. You are the one who gets burned first. Forgiveness is not easy. When we're hurt, we may believe forgiving means forgetting or excusing the wrongdoing. But forgiveness is not about justifying another, it is about freeing ourselves. To forgive is to set down the burden so our hearts are no longer weighed down by pain. A Zen story tells of a monk who was insulted harshly. He only smiled, saying nothing. A disciple asked, "Master, why didn't you respond?" The monk replied, "If someone gives you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does it belong?" The disciple answered, "To the giver." The monk nodded. "Exactly. If I do not accept the insult, it cannot harm me." Forgiveness works the same way. It is choosing not to take in more suffering, allowing it to dissolve like clouds drifting across the sky. The journey of forgiveness can begin with small steps. Acknowledge the pain. Do not deny your feelings. Admit that you have been hurt. Facing the pain is the first step toward healing. Understand the source. Often those who hurt us carry deep wounds of their own. When we understand their suffering, compassion becomes easier. Practice letting go. Instead of holding on to old stories, let them drift away like a leaf floating on water. Forgive yourself. Sometimes we blame ourselves more than we blame others. Learning self-forgiveness is equally important. Science also shows that people who forgive tend to experience less stress, less depression, and healthier hearts. Forgiveness is not only a spiritual act, but also a medicine that heals both body and mind. Tonight, you can try a small practice. Think of someone who once hurt you. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. As you exhale, imagine placing that anger down. Silently say, "I forgive you so I may be at peace." Even if you cannot fully forgive yet, the seed of forgiveness has been planted. Over time, it will sprout into lightness and freedom. Forgiveness is not forgetting, nor is it accepting wrongdoing. Forgiveness is choosing not to let old wounds control the present. It is opening a new path, a path of compassion, where both you and the other are set free. Tonight, as you drift into sleep, let the journey of forgiveness become a cool stream flowing through your soul, carrying away heavy stones and leaving a heart that is light and open. And in that peaceful dream, you will see that forgiveness is the greatest gift you can give yourself. In today's fast-paced world, we are easily swept into the whirlwind of work, responsibilities, and others' expectations. We keep running, believing that the farther we go, the happier we will be. Yet the more we run, the more tired we feel, and the farther we drift from ourselves. Sometimes we stop and suddenly ask, "Who am I amid all this noise?" The Buddha taught that every path to enlightenment begins with returning to ourselves. When we rest in inner stillness, we find a source of peace that nothing external can shake. True tranquility does not come from controlling the world, but from realizing that our mind is already whole. Imagine your mind as a lake. When crowded with worries, the lake is stirred, its surface rippling, unable to reflect the sky. But when you pause and breathe gently, the ripples settle and the lake becomes still, reflecting everything in perfect clarity. That is the power of silence. The journey back to yourself can begin with the smallest steps. Pause to breathe. When your mind feels unsettled, take a deep breath and exhale slowly. Just 3 conscious breaths can bring you back to the present. Listen to your heart. Each day, spend a few quiet minutes observing your feelings and thoughts as they pass by, without judgment, only awareness. Step away from noise. Occasionally set your phone aside, turn off surrounding sounds, and give your soul a private space. Practice mindfulness. Whether walking, drinking tea, or washing dishes, do it with full awareness. This is a simple way to return to yourself through small actions. A story tells of a man who came to a Zen master, lamenting that his life was full of chaos. He wanted to learn how to find peace. The master poured tea into a cup until it overflowed. The man was surprised. The master smiled. "Your mind is like this cup, so full of worries that there is no room for peace. To find peace, you must learn to let go." The man understood that returning to oneself is not about adding more, but removing what weighs you down, revealing the stillness already within. Modern science also shows that those who practice meditation and mindfulness have more stable nervous systems, experience less stress, and enjoy better sleep quality. When the mind rests in stillness, the body also heals. Tonight, try a small practice. Lie down, close your eyes, and relax your whole body. Imagine yourself sitting in a quiet room, no noise, no pressure, only you and your breath. Let each breath guide you home, little by little, until your heart becomes still, like a clear lake under the moonlight. Returning to yourself is not retreating from life, but finding a firm anchor from which to face the world with calm. When your mind is quiet, you are no longer swept away by praise or blame, gain or loss. You can smile in both good times and bad because you know true peace lies within. Tonight, as you close your eyes, let this journey guide you into deep sleep. In the silence, you will see more clearly. You don't need to go anywhere to find peace. Peace is already within your heart. After many nights of traveling together through letting go, forgiveness, gratitude, love, mindfulness, and stillness, we have now arrived at the final stop. This journey was never about seeking something outside, but about recognizing the treasure already in your heart, peace. Every story, teaching, and small practice we have shared points to one thing: helping the mind become light, free from the past's grip, free from excessive worry about the future, so it can rest peacefully in the present. This is also the Buddha's greatest reminder. In each moment, if there is mindfulness, that moment is peace. Remember, peace is not a perfect state without pain. Peace is the ability to smile even when storms arise. Peace is the candle quietly shining in your heart, even when darkness surrounds you. It comes from knowing how to let go, to love, to listen, and to be grateful. Before we end, let's try one simple practice to enter deep sleep. Lie still, close your eyes, and relax your whole body. Inhale and whisper, "I am at peace." Exhale and whisper, "I let go." Repeat until each breath becomes a gentle lullaby, guiding you into rest. Tonight, let the past settle like dry leaves falling to the earth. Let tomorrow not yet take shape. Let there only be the present moment filled with spreading peace. In that stillness, you are not alone. The light of compassion and wisdom is always within you, lighting your path. If this journey were a book, the last page would not be an ending, but an open door. From tomorrow on, you can carry what you have learned: forgiveness for yourself, gratitude for others, mindfulness in every small act. And whenever storms arise, you will remember there is a place of peace within you to return to. As night closes in, let your heart whisper a thank you. Thank life, thank others, and thank yourself for the courage to walk this healing path. May you have a truly peaceful night. May your sleep be as deep as a still lake, and when you awaken, may your heart be as clear as the first light of dawn. Dear friend, tonight's journey has come to a close, but the flame of peace always remains in every heart. If you feel that the words shared on Dharma in Motion have brought you stillness and serenity, please take a moment to press like as encouragement and subscribe to continue walking with us on the path ahead. Each subscription you give is not just support, it is a small wheel helping to turn the path of mindfulness and love, spreading it farther. May you rest peacefully tonight, sleep deeply, and wake to a new day filled with peace.